man. If it's working, you don't screw with it.
Hello, everybody. My name is Lewis Lee. I'm sorry we're so late getting on tonight. We were trying a new platform and got jacked. So, hold on one second. We're getting Stacy in. He's should be getting signed over. So we'll be okay in a minute.
Good.
So we are live. So we're live on YouTube as well. And Terry is calling me on the phone. Terry, I'm on Crowdcast, so jump over to us over here.
Are you doing Crowdcast?
Yeah.
All right, see you later.
All right. Man, Ray, you were right. But see, it was working so good, and I was playing with it a couple times. And I was like, "Oh, we can go live on the new system."
Yeah, I mean, you got to go live sometime, and we tested it and it worked, and then you test it and it doesn't work. So,
yeah,
I know Zoom had a lot of trouble this week where I work. It's Zoom meetings all the time. In fact, I was in one today, and they were saying the last couple of days in the morning they were having all sorts of trouble with Zoom.
Probably so many people on.
With all the schools back in and everybody's using it, so yeah, they're gonna be looking for alternate platforms as well.
Right. All right. So we're just waiting on Stacy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull Terry in, and I'm gonna jump off and call Stacy and see if I can help him get in.
Okay.
We'll be back.
Round two. He's working in AC in his garage. It's Al. Haven't seen Al in a while.
Yeah, he's a stranger, huh?
Yeah, I've been seeing him on Twitter and all. I see his feeds on there.
All right, I'm gonna jump off for a minute.
Back in the home basement.
You know it, man.
Now that's not the house you were in we did the test the other day.
No, that's upstairs.
Oh, that same house you were upstairs. Okay,
yeah, upstairs. Yeah, I was upstairs.
Now you have me all confused. Who was where? What was what? I didn't know what that was.
I got crazy rooms. We were in the kitchen actually. We tested it out.
Okay.
I was snacking on some food. My man,
I see you're playing your rack toms on a 35, almost 40 degree angle.
Yeah. Well, see, if you look, there's two drum sets. This one right here, is little boys.
They're facing each other, yeah.
Yeah, because he's a lefty. So when I play like this, he's playing like that. So he's facing that. So that's why I put him in front of me like that because so when I teach him a little something, he's doing exactly what Daddy's doing.
How is he doing?
He's doing pretty good when he wants to play, but right now he wants to play his Nintendo and watch YouTube. But every now and then, but he's gonna be 6 in a couple of days. So and when he gets about 6 or 7, I'm gonna be like, okay, you gotta give me a half hour a night, either on the piano or the drums before Nintendo.
I didn't realize John is the other Ringo Starr. He said he's lefty but plays a right-hand kit. I watched the Ringo Starr video, and I was never a big Ringo fan. I guess because it was kind of
he didn't. You know what it is? I don't think people think he was that impressive. Because it's hard to be impressive when you got like two of the best musicians in the biz.
But I tell you now, this many years later, I appreciate a lot of guys I didn't have time for in the past. That's age, But I watched the video and he explained it. He says, he goes, I'm a lefty. He says, and they put me on a right-hand kit. So he said my timing was off. He goes, and when he would do a fill where he'd have to cross, he said it was opposite for me, but I had to do it that way. So he said he had these little gaps in his playing, and he said people will always try and emulate that where they'll hold up for a half a second. He goes, that was just me being late to bring my hand over. Like,
he was always behind the groove. He was always a little behind the groove.
Right.
Behind the beat, I should say. And especially like you said, when his fills, because it's just a natural, when you're a lefty, it's just naturally not to play like a righty. It's like even with my Rhodes, I have the what is it called? The vibrato. So basically what happens is, like when you hit the vibrato, it goes through the first speaker and then it goes to the second. Wah, 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 wah. Now, if you take away that first speaker, right, and you hit the key, there's like a little delay, which sounds cool. Because it's like almost like on the it's like almost on the E. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's kind of cool, you know, because like a little delay, but yet it's on time. So, you know.
Yeah, that's very true. So, you know, I've been watching. I get into these kicks of like who I watch on YouTube. I must have watched like 20 Hal Blaine videos in the last 2 days. Hal Blaine was a master. I mean, that guy played on everything. You know, I mean, he was the sound of the Beach Boys, and no one ever knew it. But Blaine was saying that kind of the same thing. Like he was talking about a guitar player. I don't remember the guy's name, but he said lead guitarists tend to play a little ahead of the beat. I'm like, I didn't know if he meant a little faster. I didn't understand exactly what he meant, but I mean, these guys are the real true musicians who really know, you know, who know what the hell they're doing. So you got to listen to them.
Hey guys, I got a question for you.
Yo.
Stacy's hitting the button that says let him into the event.
Yes,
but it's not doing anything.
Yeah, when I got that button, the green button, let me in. It was that lets me in. Yeah, that's how I get in.
When it says "lets me in," I think you have to. I think Lewis. I think you have to be the one to let people in.
Yeah, but he's not even getting to that point. He's putting in his email, and then it says "enter event." So when he hits the enter event, it's not taking him. It's not bringing him over. So I told him maybe refresh the. See, it looks different.
That looks be the browser. What browser are you using? Are you using Chrome or IE?
Yeah, he's using Chrome.
Yeah.
He's using Chrome, he said. So he went to get his wife. I think she's gonna get him in.
Yeah.
I heard him talking to his wife. She's sweet. Sounds like a sweet lady. You know, like, yeah, no, I can't get in. I can't hear him.
Yeah. Man, Terry, we was on there smooth last week or earlier this week.
We were killing it, man. I was like, oh man, Lewis is on to something here.
Man. But Ray was probably right. There's probably so many people on right now. It's killing the systems.
We'll get it right. We'll get it. We get it. No doubt.
I mean, you know, Thursday night at 9 o'clock. I mean, what the hell's going on? You know.
Out west is
true.
6 o'clock.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's trying to get on. He should be on. He should be on in a minute.
Yeah. Good guy. Really good guy.
Yeah, he is. I got some of the stuff here too. I wanted to show off.
I think he's the reason behind like this whole station wagon groove. Like everyone wants to scoop up their station wagons now because like he did that 73 Malibu wagon, and he tweeted. I think he put an LS in that thing, you know, or either some type of tune part. I forgot what it was, but it was a bad wagon. And you never really realize that wagon is actually a pretty wagon, like a 73, 74 Malibu wagon.
Mm-hmm. My wife had one, and she hated it.
But it's an actual. I mean, that's my favorite El Camino, if you ask me. Out of all the El Caminos,
really,
that 73 body style is my favorite.
So they were getting bigger and both. The 73
that was when they were the biggest.
73 would still had round lights, right, in the front, round headlights.
Yeah, it looks like it almost looked like a Chevelle, a 72 Chevelle in the front.
Right.
Chevelle, yeah.
Yeah, they were the bigger, boxier, square fenders. Right.
Yep. That was my favorite year. If I had to have a El Camino, that would be it right there. I don't. For some reason, I just like that El Camino style.
You know what's really cool? A friend of mine had one. Was like the 73 Laguna SS.
There you go.
It was like the colonnade body Chevelle. It would, had the swivel buckets. A lot of them were black and white, and it was a cool looking car. Had the round taillights in the back, like Camaro taillights. Very nice.
Yeah, because they almost had like the pod taillights in the fender, in the bumper.
Yeah, right.
You know, but they were like half pod.
Yeah.
The S3. What was the other the trim level, the Conquistador or something like that?
I think that was one of those. Yeah, that was an oddball.
Conquistador, and then they had I think it was the Black Knight or the White Knight or something.
That one I don't know. Yeah.
I remember that.
I didn't know this. The guy that at the shop, he had an 80-something, mid-80s El Camino he bought new. It was called the Choo Choo Express. And I never heard of it, but now I've seen it. It's documented. It had like a ground effects kit on it and, spoilers and a bunch of different things. It was all dress-up stuff. But
Hold on.
You bought it from Chevy that way, and he had one. Yeah.
Hey, we have a user. Let's see, what is it? User C15054. Is that Stacy?
Let's see. Probably because it gave him a generic name. If he didn't say his name, yeah.
Stacy, is this you? Are you in?
Yes, it is because I just moused over it. It says his name. Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna get him in
Yeah,
there.
let that one in.
El Camino.
Yes. Was it Choo Choo? Or, yeah, Choo Choo Express.
Choo Choo Express, almost like.
Yeah. Yeah, I've looked it up and seen it. It was kind of cool. It had a graphic package and, like I said, the spoilers and whatnot. It was okay. I don't know how much more it was over a regular El Camino.
I love El Caminos. I like to do one.
Totally. Yeah. Talk about like your early, your car pickup. I mean, you sit in the driver's seat. It's like being in whatever car it was based on. But yeah, you could haul stuff, and you didn't have a heavy haul capacity, not like a truck, but you could throw whatever you want. I was gonna buy one in the '80s, and I didn't because around here you couldn't take them on the Parkway at the time.
What?
You had to have commercial plates on it back then. They've since changed that, but that's why I didn't buy it because from my house I go to work like 7 miles due north on the Parkway, and I get off and I'm at work. So I'm like, I can't take it to work. That's crazy.
Go.
Stacy, you're in, but we don't see you.
I'm just a black. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I think,
Hey,
last time Stacy had camera problems too. If I don't forget.
Hey, Stacy, you're black on the screen, so you might get pulled over by the police.
Oh no!
Oh, the police love me. You know that.
That was bad. Oh man!
Oh wait, his camera was off. Wait a minute.
Okay, we're trying it again here. We're flipping switches.
Okay.
Now it's working out. At least I can hear you guys. I can see you guys.
Yeah, it looks like you're pointing at the ceiling or something. Which way is your camera pointing?
No, it's off for some reason. Gosh, we had it on here.
Okay, you know what you can do is in the toolbar, not toolbar, but where you put in the URL, there's a little camera to your right. You see that little camera?
There it is.
Yeah, you click on that, and you might be able to turn the camera on.
There it is.
There you are.
There we go. Nice.
Oh man, this is like 2 years of trying to get your face on the screen.
This is great. I had to get a new computer just to do this.
Wow.
Oh man, we appreciate you. Okay, everybody, this is Stacy David, the most famous TV guy that we all grew up on.
Yeah, sure.
What's going on, man? How's everything?
Going well, man. Going well. Now that we got the cameras up working, I was listening to your El Camino conversation. Loving that.
Oh,
yeah.
We go everywhere. We were talking about drums just before that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You never know where we end up.
Yeah.
So Terry was talking about your station wagon that you built a while back. And he's go ahead, Terry.
No, we were talking about the other week, Stacy. Remember? I solely blame you for the whole station wagon craze. Because I said to him, if ever there was one question I have to ask you, man. What did you do with that station wagon? Do you still own that station wagon? Because I love that. What year was it? 73 or 74?
It was a 73.
I love that wagon.
Holly's the one that owns that wagon. But what we did all that, put carburetors on an LS, and that thing was rocking.
Yeah,
that was, an awesome deal.
I remember the episode. You had your little paint with the little chips.
Do you remember the kids that were in the back that I were throwing around?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, those were two of my daughters, and then other people. And I actually I had the dogs too, but you can throw kids around, but you can't throw animals around.
No, you get more trouble with the animals.
Oh,
yeah, that's pretty cool. Every time I talk to anybody and I tell them, Stacy David, everybody has a story that they seen one of your shows and it inspired them to do something, or a color. Like I painted my motorcycle copper from the Copperhead.
Yeah.
And everybody I talk to, they have a story about you.
Well, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. It means a lot. You know, that's really, like I was telling Terry the other day, that's the whole reason for doing this stuff. You know, for me anyway, you know, because there's just like we just did this show on, I got my cheetah back from paint, and there was we had a Hispanic group of kids work on it, and they restore bicycles, and they do like the chopper bicycles and stuff.
Nice.
It's like in California, yeah.
Yeah, and the guy, he got them off the street, you know, and they're out there in Nebraska, and they just have this group, and he's teaching them how to work on bicycles, and he's teaching them life skills and that kind of thing. And so they did some of the sanding work on the frame and the chassis of this car. Of course, they were all excited because they've just worked on bicycles. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, this crazy thing rolls in. And I was like, I told people, I was like, you know, that means so much to me to have their DNA on that car, because they're the future hot rodders. These guys are 12, 13, 15, 16 years old, you know, and I just think it's cool, you know. I wish I'd had a chance to work on a car like that when I was a kid.
Yeah. I wish I had a bike to work on like that. Some of those bikes are over the top.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have my
so you know you've made it when you have your own die-cast car. Check that out.
Nice. Yeah.
Sergeant Rock.
Yeah.
Now, when you build a car and you get your own model or a little car here, man, you know you done made it.
Yeah.
All I get is rock chips on my cars.
Yeah.
So how'd you get into doing the actual toys?
You know something? We did we've got a company that we work with called Acme. It used to be GMP. Greenlight is the one that's doing the Sgt Rock stuff. And we finally have a Copperhead coming out.
Oh, yeah.
People have been asking for that for years.
Yeah.
And we've got that one. We're going to do the Rat Roaster and several others. The Cheetah will be one. And then I'd really like to do Sgt Rock in the big, 1/24th scale. Mm-hmm. But they're so expensive because I'm a stickler for details, and I want really nicely done details, and they're $300 or $400, and not a lot of people are going to buy those.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. I think Copperhead might sell, man.
Copperhead, yeah.
Copperhead would.
Yeah.
I went to a show one time, and a guy comes up to me with a Copperhead die-cast in a package with my face on it and my name on it.
Really?
And I'm like, where did you get these? He said, I had them made.
Oh, yeah?
And he had some made and had them in the package.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, well, that's like illegal. I mean, it's flattering, but I got one of them. I've got it sitting there on my shelf. And I told it to, I sent it to the guys that does our diecast, and I said, you think you probably ought to do these, when guys are bootlegging them?
Yeah.
Which one's going to be original? Can you imagine? You go and put it out now, and you're the knock.
Yeah, we did it. Well, go ahead.
Where is Copperhead? Do you still have it, or?
It's down in Texas. I sold that thing about 14, 15 years ago, and I completely lost track of it because it went through a couple of hands, and it just kind of disappeared. And the reason it did is that the guy that owns it never goes to car shows. He just drives his grandkids around in, and they go get ice cream with it.
Yeah.
And he's got Copperhead, and he knows what he's got, and he's got plenty of money, so he doesn't need any of that kind of stuff. So finally, just this last year, I was reunited with it. The guys at LMC, hooked up with them, and so we saw it in Texas. And it was pretty cool to see it. I mean, the truck is literally untouched.
Really?
It still has the same tires on it.
Wow.
Oh, that's nice.
He's probably put 2,000 miles on it in 15 years, which is not good. I'd like to see him drive it more, but it's kind of odd because, I've always been a stickler for that kind of thing. Like if I had the Bullet Mustang, I'd drive the crap out of that thing.
Oh, no doubt.
Right.
But you don't dare, and so he's the sort of guy. It's like, well, it's Copperhead. I don't want to change what you did to it. And I'm like, oh, come on. There's more.
That's why you built it.
You know, make it yours. It, you know, whatever.
Yeah, you build it to drive, though. That's, you know, the difference.
Yeah. But, yeah, there were people tossing some pretty good money around, talking about, you know, what it's worth and everything. But I don't care about that. I just want to see it used and see it driven. And the guy that owns it, he's really cool about it. He'll never sell it. He's passing it down to his kids, and they love it. Good. Put it this way: he has a company where he has 210 big rigs.
Wow!
And they do pipeline, you know, fuel pipelines and stuff, oil pipeline.
Yeah.
Up in Canada, and they do all this stuff. Every one of his trucks is painted Copperhead orange.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
But that went to the right place. That went to the right place.
So PPG, and that's become his color. When he retired, he invited us to the party, and they have a special drink called Copperhead. Yeah, so I'm like, he's pretty serious about it. You know?
Yeah.
They serve them in those cups like mojitos. You know, the hand.
Oh yeah.
Cup. Yeah. Cool.
Dude, that is like crazy. I love it.
So anyway,
you know, at the same time, you did a purple Jeep. No, it was the Bronco, right?
The Bronco, yeah.
I remember that. You still have that one?
No, Crazy Horse is around. It's you know, I just got an email from a guy, gosh, about 6 months ago that just bought it. And the guy that I sold it to had it all these years, and he went to all the shows, and he just finally retired it and sold it. Is that your cat? I just saw that tail moving around there.
He's crazy. No, because I remember those episodes very well because each one of them came with a guitar.
Yes.
And I remember when you were playing it, and that was the first time I was like, because you were playing some chords, and I was like, this guy's a musician. This guy's a musician, because like it wasn't just
I like him.
You were just playing some straight, you know, like blues, but you were playing some, you know, like you went to a commercial and I was like, yeah, he's a musician. This isn't someone who just learned how to play like a couple days ago. Nah, this guy's been playing.
These and I do have all the guitars. I keep all the guitars. When I get rid of them, you know, because people want the guitars. No. So I have all those. They're hanging up on the wall.
Nice.
Let's see. Do I have any here? No, I don't have any of them here. They're all over the shop.
How many guitars do you own?
That's like asking how many cars I own, man.
Wow.
See, we touch a base on everything here.
Well, we can talk about bases too, but what's the trend? Like, what's the overall theme of the guitars? Like, what do you collect? Is this a certain, you know, guys will collect certain brands or certain models? What's is there a theme to what you have?
I'll tell you what, that's a really good question. My main guitar for years is a Stratocaster.
I was gonna say that.
Yeah. However, I mean, I played Gibsons and I have a Paul Reed Smith, and you know, I like them all, kind of like cars. You know, there's not one thing that I just love more than others, but the Strat is the one that, you know, that I just love. And but when I do the guitars for the vehicles, it has to fit the vehicle.
Yeah.
So, for example, I'm getting ready to do the SR71. I got to do a guitar for that. It's got to represent speed, fast, you know, and it's, you know, obviously it's going to be black and all that kind of stuff to match the vehicle. So still trying to come up with what body style I want to do on that one. But the Cheetah, for example, there's so many curves to the Cheetah. It's probably going to be an arch top, you know, something that's really big hips, you know, just like, you know, that has that organic shape like the car has. So I try to match the car with the guitar with the vehicle. Gibson did the Copperhead guitars, and they cut the snakeskin into an SG. And then the Crazy Horse was a Les Paul. And, you know, so I've done a lot of them with Gibson. Probably the craziest one was the Rat Roaster one. I took a 335 and whacked off the bottom ear and put a stainless steel exhaust system coming out of it. It's cool as heck. It's cool as heck. That's my favorite one.
I just learned in the last couple of years that there are more Stratocasters, knockoffs and different brands than you can shake a stick at. I mean, you know, it's become a generic word now. There's so many of them. But I'm a drummer like Terry, so I'm not really. I don't know the nuances, but I don't know.
I played guitar for like 2 months, and I realized I was like, I don't have it. I tried. I was like, you know, like, yeah.
Oh, you could do it. You could do it.
I want. You know what happened? I picked up the bass, so I play a little bit of bass, but I like to put a little bit of time on the bass. I really would.
Yeah.
You know, it's only one.
You know, it's really two totally different skill sets. I mean, to do fingering and chords and even notes on a guitar is a lot different than doing notes and, you know, making sounds on a drum. Totally different.
Yeah.
You know, I can see, you know, a lot of piano guys go to guitar in and out seamlessly, you know, because again, it's fingers.
Yeah.
I mean, you could make the argument that, you know, with drumming, I do use my fingers a lot. I use a little finger for stick control, but it's not the same as playing guitar, you know.
Did you guys see the movie Whiplash?
Yeah, unfortunately, yes.
That brings a whole different idea to drumming, man.
No, that was
you know,
that was actually.
Go ahead.
I was going to say that was actually just torture, straight up torture. You know, that was basing a human being. I mean, that poor kid who had a lot of talent. And I mean, I understand that people train and teach in different ways. I'm not from that school. I'm more nurture over, you know.
Yeah.
Torture. I actually stopped that movie a couple times because it bothered me. It really did.
Have you ever heard any of the tapes of Buddy Rich?
I listen to Buddy Rich all the time.
Buddy Rich is a nightmare.
But the tapes of him on the bus with his band?
No.
Years ago I heard some stuff. Yeah.
I used to. That's kind of one of the things, and Terry, you'll probably know about this, but I used to collect all of these tapes and these bootleg things, you know, of musicians and people doing crazy stuff. And it's circulated around. You can find it. But Buddy Rich was legendary for chewing out his band. Yeah. And I mean, just like in the movie. I mean, these are the greatest players in the world. You didn't play for Buddy Rich if you were no good. No. He got on the bus and he ripped these people up and down, man.
It's like James Brown. James Brown did the same thing.
James Brown did the same thing, yeah.
Now, we were just talking before the show, before you guys came in, and I've just watched in the last 2 days probably 20 or 30 Hal Blaine videos. And Hal Blaine was a session drummer on like everything from the 50s up through the 80s. And he was a teacher. You know, he would like, if somebody was playing off or not doing something right, he would kind of just like gently, you know, talk to them about it and kind of show them. And instead of that, you know, and of course everybody loved him because the guy was a teacher and a nurturer. But he did demand that everything had to be right. It just, you know, I mean, everybody has different ways of going about it. So, I'm a big Hal. I mean, I've been a Buddy Rich fan since I'm a little kid, but I'm a big Hal Blaine fan.
Yeah. You know? But, you know, that kind of thing. And you don't realize how you influence somebody if you're snarky or if you're nice.
Right.
You know, I had a chance. We got the last interview with Jerry Reed before he died.
Oh, Jerry Reed, my favorite. Yes.
And we were talking with Jerry, and he told me a story, and it was one of the coolest things. When he first came to town, and this was early 60s, Chet Atkins brought him to town. And here's this hot guitar player, brings him in to play a session. And they're sitting around as all these A-team players. I mean, the best of the best, played on all the big records. And here's this new kid, Jerry Reed, brought in by Chet. So they're all looking at him like, okay, let's see what you got. And so Chet wanted him to play this single line, simple little melody thing. Anybody could do it. And Jerry said he was so nervous he couldn't play it. And every time he tried, he screwed it up worse and worse. Okay, so now he said, seriously, like 30 takes. And this is down at RCA Studios. They're burning up all the time. He finally looked at Chet, and he said his hands were just shaking. And he said, Chet, I can't do this. I've made a mistake. I'm going back to Georgia. And he said that Chet pulled him aside and said, listen, Jerry, all it is tape. He says, I've heard you play. I know what you can do. You're going to sit here, and you're going to play this song. I'm not going to do it. We're going to sit here, and you just screw these guys. They're on a time clock. They don't care. You're going to get this part right. And Jerry said it changed his life. Yeah. That one thing right there. He said, I was ready to give up and never play guitar again.
He was a great
and one person having confidence in him in that kind of situation changed everything for him. And he was like, well, if Chet thinks I can do it, then I can do it.
And
he said, I finally got it done, and everything, the rest is history. But
Snowman.
Music is a world of mistakes. Like Hal Blaine was saying, he played on the Ronettes, Be My Baby. And he had, the guy read sheet music exclusively. So he had a beat that they wanted him to, the producer wanted him to play, and he screwed it up, and it became boom, 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 cha, boom, 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 cha, Be My Baby. He says, I must have missed a stroke. And he says, I had to play it again. He goes, then I'm thinking, oh, crap, what do I do? Do I do it the right way and admit that I screwed up in front of everybody, or do I do it again? So he did it again the wrong way, and that became the Be My Baby by the Ronettes. He goes, listen, sometimes there's happy accidents in the studio. I was like, I love stories. That stuff is great.
That happens all through life. It happens building cars.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
Things out. Yeah. And then I was making some panels today to go inside the Cheetah, and I built this panel and thought I had it all nice, and I looked at it, and I'd spent a couple hours on it, and it's just like garbage. But in doing that, I was like, here's what I want to do now, and
change your
and then it was like, because of the screw up of the first one, the second one, it was even a better thing, because it was like, all I have to do is do a little bit more of a flange here, and I've got this thing, and put that, and boom. So the original idea gave way to even a better idea once you got into it.
Right.
But if you get yourself in a hurry, or if you get yourself into some sort of a situation where you can't take that time, then you don't let yourself be creative like that.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with music. I used to play sessions, and that was the thing. It's time and money. Terry, about this stuff. Guys come in, they're like, come on, time is money. Yeah. So you throw your stuff in, you're out the door like, yeah, it's great, it's fine. It's like, well, I'd really like to have another take at that. But, that's the difference between something great, and something that's okay.
Right.
But luckily nowadays people could just have studios in their house, because that's how it was with me. Because I was a lot of people don't know this, but I was a hip hop artist for many years, and I used to do music behind the scenes. But then what I would do was I got smart. I was like, what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get some of the equipment where I could do the stuff at my house, right? Because like you said, time is money. When you're paying like $50, $60 an hour back, like in, let's say, early 90s, it's a lot of money. So I would do all the drumming work right there at the house and everything like that, bring it down there. Now 10-hour session became a 3-hour session. And so I'm glad with the technology when it comes to the music anyways, but it also takes away from that, because here I am a drummer and I'm barely playing the drum. You know what I'm saying? It's more or less,
Right.
Yeah, that's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. It's a whole different mentality. And I would much rather sit down with a bunch of live players and play than a bunch of studio players.
Yes. The feel.
Oh, yeah.
The feel. And, a lot of people ask me sometimes that, what is the difference between a real drummer and why do you prefer a real drummer? I said, because the real drummer, it's the not being perfect, where a drum machine is perfect.
Yeah.
A drummer is not perfect. I mean, if you're playing a 16th note, sometimes you're not going to hit it right there on the one-iana. You're going to be like a little before, a little after, and that's what gives that music character.
Ghost notes, man. Ghost notes.
Oh, you got to put the ghost notes in there. You got to put the ghost notes in there.
Absolutely.
It gives you the magic. Absolutely. There have been times where I've made a pass, either live or in the studio or something like that, and people will go, "Dude, that was awesome. Do it again." It's like, I don't know what I did.
Yeah.
I hope you got it on tape because that's it.
Because you're going to come out again like that. It's going to come out.
No, it won't. It won't come out the same way.
It's going to be different.
That allows the emotion and all that stuff to go in there. So that's real musicianship to me. That's when a person can sit down and go, here's how I'm feeling, and here's what the audience is, the vibe I'm getting back from that, and here's the way I'm going to play this tonight. It's a cool thing.
And you know what it is too, people, like when you're creating a song, see, I've been fortunate enough where I played with players where, because usually the person that writes the song is either the guitar player or the keyboard player.
Yeah.
And they really don't have too much of a drumming background. So my whole thing when I go into, or I used to, I'd be like, just give me, when you put the song together, you have a drum track in your mind, what you want to hear. Just give me like bass, snare bass, snare bass. Just give me something like that, and I'll do the fills. I'll funkify it. But just give me what you have in your mind, so I can play it down and lay it down, and tell me where you want the fills. And like I work with people who's like, no, it's got to be like this and this and this. Like on the 16th bar, you got to hit this and.
Yeah.
That gets tedious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't deal with that.
When I first started doing the show, when I first started doing trucks, I would get some of those guys that would write in, and they would teach like at the vocational schools, and they would come in, and seriously, I was reading their emails, but it sounded like this. Well, technically, you're supposed to be wearing safety glasses, and you're supposed to have your protection on your face and your pen in your pocket. And I was like, listen, the second I walk out there with safety glasses and all that crap on, I'm a geek. Car guys, we do what we do, and I want to teach people proper safety. Course. But not stupidity, or this. It was like, people just don't do that. We work in T-shirts and we have fumes flying around and all that kind of stuff.
We catch ourselves on fire.
Yeah,
candles in the garage. Yes.
Yeah. I encourage people to be safe, but you can't be overly safe to where you take the fun out of it and the spontaneity out of it. And what we do.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing that we'll do is we'll fire something up and take it down the road with no brakes.
Oh yeah.
All that kind of stuff. It's like, and that's part of the magic of it.
That's it. On a milk crate without windshields. That's me.
Oh, yeah. We all grew up. My dad we rode on the back of his Jeep, and we'd hold up our hands. We're standing on the rear bumper out in the pasture, and we'd let go of the tailgate and challenge him to pop the clutch and throw us off the back before we could reach down and grab the tailgate.
That's good.
And if we got off the back, he'd come around and pick us up again. Amazing.
Hey, and we're all still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And real scars.
Yeah.
All over the place, man.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
No helmets, knee pads, none of that mess.
What was that? What was the helmet, man? The only helmet I have is the football field. That was it.
If you would have rode in with a bicycle helmet on, I mean, people would have just tarred and feathered you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
poor kids.
That was a beaten invitation, man. No. And elbow pads and knee pads. There was none of that. Yeah. We used to jump over garbage cans without swings.
Yeah.
I think the only person that ever got away with it was Jack Nicholson in Easy Rider. He wore that football helmet, and he was like, and you're like, what the hell is he? It's Jack Nicholson. He's cool.
Oh, he's
and see, he was making fun of it with the football helmet,
Right.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
So, Stacy, tell us a little bit about your show. You're doing a whole new. Well, it ain't new now. It's about 2 years old, 3 years.
Which one? The Restoration series?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, we started that restoration series last year. We're into the second season on it. And the big thing with that, I realized, when you look at the whole world of auto restoration, and when I say restoration, I mean like auto building, custom fabrication, restoration, I lump it all together. We as a group or a society or just car people have never sat down and gone, okay, here's the criteria for building a car or a truck. You do it if you build a house, you do it. If you make a cake, it's like, okay, here's the recipe, here's the steps, and you kind of have to follow that. But when it came to car stuff, guys are kind of like, hey, I want to build a car. And it's like, well, what does that mean? Is that a ground up restoration? Is that a get it running and drive it? And so we have not been able to communicate well with each other. So the idea behind the restoration series is to come up with 5 levels of a build that will cover everything from a basic get it running to building the space shuttle. And everything is within one of those 5 steps. And then we just started laying it out. So now if somebody comes to me and says, hey man, I've got a Camaro and I'm looking to I have a 69 Camaro, but I want to put a new LS in it and change all the suspension and that kind of thing. I said, you're talking about a level 3, possibly a level 4. And they're like, well, what does that mean? And I said, well, it means $60,000 is what it means. And now I've got a criteria to talk about. And they said, ooh, that's too expensive. I said, well, you need to drop it back. You don't need to do the LS swap. You need to do this. This drops you back more into a level 2, and you can get out of it cheaper. And they're like, oh, well, I want to do a full suspension frame off. I said, well, you're at level 5 then. Mm-hmm. And, and not only, anytime you start pulling a body off, I mean, you guys know this, you need at least 3 bays of workspace.
Yeah.
You need 1 bay for the vehicle, 1 bay for the body that came off, and 1 bay to work.
And the Camaro's easy. And the Camaro's a subframe, so that's easy. But then if you put a full frame on it, you try doing a Chevelle. Yeah. So basically, that's what we did with it, and it allows me to go into it. See, the GearZ show is a little bit of everything. So I'll do some how-to, then I'll do a story on somebody, and then some lifestyle stuff, and I'll show some new products, so it's a nice, well-rounded show. So if a guy's watching it and say he's into 4-wheel drives, he's not going to get bombarded with a bunch of Camaros. He's going to find something that he can use in GearZ. The restoration series is much more pinpointed. In other words, I'll do a whole show on how to do fuel injection. And then I'll do a whole show. And the shows are not as long as, a regular 30-minute show. They're as long as they need to be. So sometimes 10 minutes to 15 minutes, but it's really in depth on, okay, this is how to do weather stripping. But let's even this is how to do door weather stripping. And on another show, I'll show you how to do windshields. When you get into that, and what happens when you find a rusty windshield, how do you repair that? A rusty windshield frame, before you do the glass. Whereas most people just cover it up with new rubber. It's like, well, you got to take the rust out, you got to make the new dog leg, the whole thing. So,
well, I know that you're serious about it because you created a book. If everybody needs to go on Stacy's website and check out this book, this is a guide to really put your car together. I mean, it's very detailed. And Stacy, I really appreciate you sending this to me, man. This is no joke.
Awesome. Let me know when you need another one.
Yeah. I ain't even started this one yet.
I'm doing a 67 Chevelle right now.
Listen, when I tell you, after you go through this book and put in your information, you will know if you need to do this project or not. You know what I mean? Or how much money you need, or things you don't think about. No. I mean, it's really detailed. So everybody needs to go to Stacy's website.
Years ago, and I always wanted one. I heard about it, but you forget about things and everything. You get caught in the project and everything. But I definitely, we're talking, Stacy.
The only thing, Stacy, what I think you should have did is put an envelope in the back to put the receipts.
I have one like that. That's the Deluxe Book.
Yeah, but
Oh,
then
you sent me the bootleg book.
I sent you the cheap one. Yeah.
Okay.
No, here's what I did. That was the first one that you got. And then what we did is we added the deluxe one that had, after each segment, it had a little envelope so you could keep the receipts. And the book was this thick.
Yeah.
And a lot of people weren't using them. So the one that we have now just has one envelope in the back where you can put your receipts. And
you need the envelope like this. You need the expanding file folder.
And see, that's the thing. See, I don't, when I use the book, I have a whole box separate for receipts because the receipts stack gets big.
Yes.
And I didn't want to clutter the book up too much with receipts.
Good idea.
That makes sense.
So, but yeah, let me send you one with the package on it. Tell me what you think.
I'm good. I was messing with you, but I tell you, man, it even has pictures of, like, I'm on the page with a valve cover and gasket. I don't know if you can see it, but see, it's
yeah.
I mean, everything's like that.
Yeah,
it's pretty neat, man. I really enjoy it.
Those are the kind of things that, because a lot of people don't really know, when you start flipping through that, you overlook that stuff. Everybody knows they need an engine and transmission, rear end, wheels, tires, all that fancy stuff. But hardware and little fittings and fuel things and all that junk takes gosh, it adds up.
How long did it take you to do this book? I mean, this is everything.
You know how that came about? That was about 2 years putting that together, but it came about because I wrote it for myself, because it was like I was using the tablets like everybody did, and it was like I just need to put together a book that lays this stuff out, and it kept growing and growing until finally I'm like, okay, I just need to really lay this out, and in a way that, and because one of the biggest things that I get, I talk to people all the time, every day about their projects. And almost without fail, they come up and they're like, listen, man, I'm lost on it. Don't know what to do. Can you help me finish it? And I'm like, well, I can't help you finish the project. I mean, no, but I can tell you why you're screwed up is because you've gotten upside down on it, or you've gotten over your head. You didn't think it out. You didn't, I've been there. We've all been there. Yeah. So it was like, let me help you that way and get you back into what you loved about it. Because most of those guys are just buy it from me and get rid of it. I'm tired of it. Yeah. And it's just because they've gotten frustrated with it.
Yeah, it's not hard to get to that point, boy, I tell you.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
That's why you gotta have a good woman behind you to push you. My wife, man, she really pushes me to get back out in the garage.
That's awesome. Mine's telling me always to get out of the garage.
Yeah.
You still work on those cars? No, I got it the other day. I was flipping through eBay or Facebook. I don't remember which one it was, but I found this 1922 fire engine. There's like 6 of them in existence. And I'm looking at that thing, and I can imagine it as this awesome hot rod. But there's only 6 in existence. So it's like
tearing it up.
Yeah. It's like, do I have to restore that back original? And Catherine was like, boy, that would be really cool. It's like, well, I could keep it looking kind of original.
On the outside.
But it has to have a blower sticking out of the
hood. Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out how you got that roll cage in that Cheetah.
We built the car around it.
Oh, okay.
No, seriously, the whole cage and everything is inside the car, and you just put the body over the top of it. Oh. The body is like, if you saw how flimsy it is, it's just a fiberglass shell. It's basically a race car with a body on it.
That's the first question Stacy asked me. How do you know that was a cheetah?
Yes, very impressed. He goes, "Is that a cheetah?" And I'm like, "Oh, I like this guy."
I kind of figured you
found out. Stacy, would you mind telling the people everyone here what your favorite Tri-5 is.
Oh, okay. 56. Yeah.
Finally.
I finally got some validation.
Actually, I was looking when now the 55 is a close second, but the 56 is just it's magic. You know, I actually looked at a 2-door hardtop just the other day, old barn find, but man, they're not cheap.
No,
Yeah.
no.
No.
And forget
They
about
were for a little bit.
way out there.
When the 57s were still hot, they were kind of cheap. But now, man, they're buying them up.
The void filled in.
Long time
Just,
56 was easy one.
Yeah, the void just filled in, and everything is, it's like when nobody wanted Novas.
Yeah, now you can't touch them.
70. You can't touch a 75 Nova now. You know?
Yeah, 4-door. You can't touch a 4-door.
Yeah. In fact, there's a guy at the auto parts store by my house. He's driving a Ventura, the Pontiac model. I swear, this thing must have been in some old lady's garage for like the last 40 years.
I always liked the Ventura better than the Nova.
Did you? Okay.
They messed up with the taillight. The taillight should have been like a 69 Firebird or 68 Firebird.
Yeah.
The taillight should have been like that, but I always liked that. I even like the Omega better than the Nova.
Well, you know know what Nova stands for, don't you?
Isn't it like a moon or something? Best friend or something?
It's an acronym. N stands, it's the 4 cars on the X body platform. N stands for Nova, O stands for Omega, V is Ventura, and A is the Aster.
No way.
Yes, sir. That's what Nova stands
I
for.
love that kind of stuff.
It's the 4 cars on that X body platform.
Wow.
Didn't they make an Apollo or something like that?
There was an Apollo, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big
Do
Apollo.
you guys remember the little Chevy Love truck?
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially
Do you remember what
narrowed rear
You
end.
know what Love stood for? Everybody, the LUV? Light utility.
I know what I know when you say it.
Vehicle. Okay, yeah, cool.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent.
I always thought it was like Love. They named it the Love.
You know,
No,
while we're on that,
light utility vehicle.
the mail trucks, the aluminum mail trucks that they drive around, the small ones, are called LLVs, and that's long life vehicle. So I guess, it's everybody got in on the acronym thing.
Now, here's a question. A gentleman asked me a couple days ago. What does LS stand for on the LS motors?
Good
Nothing.
question.
Nothing.
It's probably an internal designation, like a build code or something.
It's just the company code or
I mean, because they were using that back in the 70s. LS isn't new. Just the version of it is.
I knew that. I remember when I did something with them, I remember talking to them about it. And it was some little thing that meant nothing, so it just went past me.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's a designation.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well,
I'll have to dig that back up.
We should start a rumor what it really means.
Sure.
Lewis Stature. Lewis Stature.
Yeah. See, one of the guys is writing in. It's just like the CJ and the YJ and the TJ Jeeps and stuff. The CJ actually stood for civilian Jeep when it first came out.
Ooh.
But
Nice.
then, because that was the first one that came from the military, the MVs and everything like that. But after the CJ, when you went into the YJs, we just call those yuppie Jeeps, and then the TJs, I don't know what all that stuff stood for. I'm sure it had something, but
Terry's joint.
Terry joint. There we go.
Speaking of the J's, I'm only like about a week or so away from buying an FJ, not a G.
Yeah.
It's Toyota.
Oh,
I had this thing for a while, and I'm thinking about picking it up.
what year?
It's an 08.
Oh yeah, I like those, man. Those are cool vehicles,
Always liked them, yeah.
and they're holding their value pretty well. They're not dropping.
A 14 is still going around 30 grand,
Wow.
which is ridiculous. This one, I did a Carfax on it, and it comes in at like 15 grand, even with 130 something thousand miles on it. Yeah, but it's in good shape otherwise. So I don't know. I gotta get the number. We're gonna talk the deal. We gotta see.
What do you guys think about the new Bronco?
I only saw a couple little things. I didn't see too much about it, but what I saw looked pretty good.
It's
Yeah, I
not
like
Yeah,
it.
other than they're not available yet.
Hey, what?
Other than they're not available yet.
Well, that yeah. There's always that. Yeah.
You know what? I looked at it online about what 2 years ago. They started pushing
Yeah.
out a little bit,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
are they really going to manufacture it or?
Well, they did a big push on it just recently, but you still can't buy them. I mean, it looks pretty cool actually, but
Yeah.
I like
it's
it.
bad timing. You know, COVID's killing everything,
Right.
Yeah.
and they're not cheap, man.
Right.
You
What are
know,
they going
well-
for? What do you think they're going to go for?
Well, a fully loaded one, you're up around 60 grand. You know.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, now you can get cheaper versions of it, but with the good stuff on there,
Yeah.
you know, you want all the, you know. But see, Jeeps are even that new Gladiator. We just did that Gladiator on the show, and this wasn't even a Rubicon. This was just a mid-range Gladiator. It's $43,000.
That's
You know,
terrible.
it's trading around. Al just said it. The LJ. It's a Jeep with a little pickup back on it, and
Yeah.
maybe that's that LJ he's talking about. That's pretty cool because you got a cab.
I saw one the other day go past my house. I was like, that's kind of nice. You
You got
know,
a cab of the Jeep, front and rear seat,
Or yeah.
a short bed pickup, but that looks
Yeah.
pretty cool.
And what do you think about the new Blazer? I think it was a Blazer I've seen, or was it a?
The Blazer is good, yes. No,
You
no,
know, they all look the same, man. It's hard to tell them apart. It looks kind of like a Buick Enclave.
Yeah.
You know,
No, I think it was a. It wasn't. Wait a minute. It wasn't a Blazer. It was the GMC. Hold on.
Jimmy.
No, it was the big truck. I mean,
Yeah, they came out with a Blazer.
no, but this is different. For some reason, my phone is acting up. Hold on.
nah, the Blazer. Well, we're talking about the Blazer. The Blazer, I no, hated it. No.
Yeah.
Now my Trailblazer FS, yes, I like that one.
But you're
Wait a
buying.
minute. It wasn't a Blazer. Wait a minute.
You're allowed to be.
What about that? What about that? What's called that 3500? Is it the GMC pickup or the Chevy? It looks like the front end should be upside down. That new GMC, I think it's pickup the 3500, the Chevy.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
No, the pickups, they're so big in the front, they look like rolling refrigerators.
Yeah, you know, in the front.
I tell you what, though, have you seen the Dodge T-Rex?
Yes.
It's supposed to be a competitor to the Raptor,
Really?
Okay.
and I'm sure it's not cheap, but it's got the Hellcat engine in it. And
Right, Dodge, man. If you got enough money, Dodge will put a Hellcat engine in a Caravan. They just don't care over there, man.
yeah,
It's a Tahoe.
that's crazy. That's actually really cool.
They say it's a 2020 Tahoe.
Really?
That's got like a 70.
Yeah, like this 68 front end.
Looks like the front of a C10.
Yeah.
Really?
Wait, let me-
I mean,
let me
you
get
should
a better-
make that custom because I kind of
That looks
Yeah,
like-
somebody did that. There's no way
hard to
Chevy.
believe that's a production vehicle.
That's like a 2015 back end. You know, like
They put an old nose on it, but that looks
Yeah.
good.
Wait, it's not focusing. Hold on, let me.
Now that looks real good. But that's an
Yeah.
old nose. They don't put metal bumpers on trucks anymore, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's a tip off, right? But that's beautiful. It's very nice.
how'd you catch that? I didn't even think about that.
I like that. Talk about.
They need to put them on there.
Well, you
That's a
do.
nice looking truck. I like that.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of which, we did that Jeep Gladiator, and there's a company out there that has the old Kaiser style front end on it.
Oh, wow.
And we put that front end on there, and it totally changed the look of that thing. It was awesome. You know, that old look. Remember the old Gladiator pickups from the '60s, or the military M7 714,
Oh, the
715.
one with it could
Yeah,
burn just about any type of oil.
Oh yeah. And man, it was cool looking. Totally changed the look of that thing. That's how they should come.
Yeah.
But
Kaiser, wow.
it'll be interesting to see what happens. You know, the Raptor is such an incredible off-road truck. If they put any of that Raptor DNA into that Bronco, that thing's going to be pretty wicked.
Yeah.
for a independent front suspension and stuff. I'm just afraid it's going to be really expensive.
Where you can't touch it. But yeah, those
Yeah.
Raptors are really nice.
Yeah.
I think it's like the Raptor's longer. You're looking at a full truck chassis as opposed to a shorter Bronco. I don't know. I guess, I mean, any crossover is going to be cool, but they're going to have to build it and it's going to have to be fleshed out.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, the manufacturers, they're so scared to do anything. I know a lot of designers that work for the big three and stuff, and I used to dog them all the time until I realized what they're up against. Listen, they design some really nice stuff, and the bean counters come in and go, nope, 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 nope.
Yeah.
And you end up with what we have.
Mm-hmm.
And the guys are like, that's why they don't last so very long. They're like,
yeah, they can't get creative.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard they're doing away with Camaros, 2022?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Really?
21. Yeah, they're going to get rid of the Camaro again.
Yeah.
What a mistake.
See, we need to get some car guys that's running the show at those big car places where we can get loose a little bit.
Yeah.
Because,
1 year, that's all. Just 1 year. 2020.
Yeah.
Like a retrofitted 69 Camaro. I mean, make it look like a 69 Camaro,
All right, Stacy, here's a question for you. Out of the three, the Camaro, the Challenger, and the Mustang, what do you think looks closest to the old ones, the 69s? Or
Well, they keep changing them. I mean, they all did a pretty good job with it. In typical fashion, the Challenger and the Camaro look alike, just like they did back in the day.
Yeah.
And I'm a big Mopar guy, but I do like the Challenger. But I have to say, I like them all. But when you look at what you get dollar for dollar and the way the cars are built, you can't beat the Mustang. And the reason I say that is because of the design work and the engineering that those guys put into that Mustang. They keep coming out with a new design. They have all the great engine stuff. It's a little smaller. It's a little more refined. The Camaros to me, and even the Challengers, they feel heavy and bulky. But so out of the three, I take any one of them. Probably my least favorite is the Camaro, with the Challenger and the Mustang kind of fighting it out. The Mustang, I really liked the retro look when it came out. What was it, 05 to about 07?
Yeah.
And then they screwed up the tail end for like 10 years.
Yep.
And it wasn't until about 14 that they got the tail lights right.
Yeah.
So from like 14 to current, those Mustangs are pretty cool looking. They got a good front end on them. They got a good tail end. And the Challengers kind of stayed the same, and I think that's kind of what's getting me on the Challenger. I wish they would just come out with a Roadrunner or something, and it's like, okay, you've done the Challenger. Let's just do a Roadrunner, not a 4-door like you did.
Yeah, they would do stick 4 doors on that thing.
Yeah, let's just do a modern Roadrunner and see what they could do with that.
Yeah, they couldn't build it to look true to form now, I don't think. With the Mustang, I've worked on one at the shop. One of my buddies has one. Easy to work on, great power, unbelievable power, fun to drive, good handling, like you said. Everything's styled. It's an 05, so the styling is there. But they still can't make those cars handle in the rain. Still.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the problem in the 60s. It's the problem now.
The Camaros and Challengers have horrible blind spots. You've driven them?
Yes.
I got one.
Yeah. But they're still cool. But I don't know, the aftermarket on the Camaro or on the Mustang is second only to the Jeep. Jeep is number one. The Jeep has the largest aftermarket of anything out there. You can get anything for those.
Yeah.
With the Mustang, a close second.
I'll tell you this, Stacy, I was just looking last night for some FJ parts, and I was inundated with websites. There was more stuff for that truck. and on any price platform. I mean, there's little tchotchke stuff and there's major body mods, and man, there's a lot of stuff for that truck.
You're gonna love that truck. So when are you gonna know when you're gonna get it? You still deciding?
Well, yeah, he's my buddy's coming back from his. He's coming back this weekend with the transporter plate, so I can take it out for a drive. So he's got the plate with him. So
you haven't driven yet.
I haven't. No, it's been at the shop. It's been sitting there, and I've been kind of eyeing it and looking at it. I actually rolled under it, but I've been kind of waiting. I've been trying to do this like an adult. You know, I'm trying not to be too anxious. You know,
a real car guy would have took it out there with no plate.
I couldn't, because I do that all the time. I test drive down all the time down by the houses, and I got the key. It's not an issue, but I think let me see if it comes to me. You know, I want to see if this car is going to come and grab me. But yeah, huge aftermarket. Wow.
Yeah, they're cool. I really, really like them.
Yeah.
I'd like to have one of those myself, actually, the FJ.
Yeah.
Well, we have 4-wheel drive here in my area. You know, the big catalog for Jeeps. Yeah, this right. It's like.
Wholesaler?
Say again.
Is it 4-wheel parts wholesaler up there?
Yeah, it's in Salem, Ohio.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like right next door to us, next county over. Yep, and they got a lot of parts.
Yeah. That Jeep stuff is huge, man.
Yeah, it really is. Now that women are in it, it's getting even bigger. You know, women are buying those 4-doors up.
Oh yeah, Catherine had one for a while. It's and it's funny. There's two worlds in the Jeep world. You guys know this. There's your hardcore guys that your hardcore off-road guys, and then there's
snorkels.
Then there's the mall cruisers. And back in the day, nobody liked the mall cruisers because it was like desecrating the Jeep world. But now, I mean, that world is just as big, and it's all part of it. I mean, not everybody's a hardcore off-road person. They want to look that way. But the way I look at it, as long as somebody's into cars, that means that they're not doing something else.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep this industry going.
Yeah.
And eventually, the more somebody messes with a car, the more hardcore they'll get, no matter what they're doing. They'll start into racing or drifting or 4-wheel drive or drag racing or whatever, and car shows, whatever it might be.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's funny to see the big high-profile tires and little thin tires on a Jeep. That's kind of
it kind of defeats the purpose.
Just kind of walk away from that.
Little rubber band tires.
Yeah. What are you going to do with that?
You're not going to jump it, that's for sure.
No. Hit a pebble and worry about bending your rim.
So, Stace, do you have any projects that, like, for yourself at home that you just, like a little small build or?
Yeah, fix the faucet, fix the leak in the bathroom.
All right. We just moved into a new house here, so I'm doing a bunch of that kind of junk. I had to get my tractor going because we have kind of a pasture out here in front. It's like 15 acres that I have to mow. Wow! And I don't want to sit on a mower all day, so I got this mower to go behind my tractor. 16 feet.
Wow!
It butterflies out. So, of course, I never buy anything new. I had to rebuild it and change all the belts and fix all the bearings on it and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But no, I'll tell you what. One of the things that I just picked up, because I like a lot of crazy stuff, and I like a lot of military stuff. I picked up an M116 Husky. Now this is a.
I'm talking about a rifle for a second.
Yeah, I was like, oh, guns.
It's very close to it. They made them during Vietnam era. It was powered by a small block Chevy. It's about the size of a long bed pickup. It's a fully tracked amphibious vehicle.
Wow.
But the hull is all aluminum. So it's basically a tank. It's just a personnel carrier. Got a little tailgate on it. And I've had a lot of tracked vehicles, a lot of military vehicles, but this one I've always been after one of these things. So I'm getting ready to dig into that. And it's running now, so So that's one of those things I'm getting ready to dig into. That's it.
Oh, that thing looks fun.
Where's the parade?
That thing
What's
looks
that?
fun.
Where's the parade? It looks like it should be right out of like Animal House or something.
Didn't they have one of them with like 007 or something? Like he ran over.
See, mine doesn't have the whole top on it like that.
Oh, you got the convertible.
Yeah, I've got the one like the first one you showed. That whole top lifts off of there.
Ah, okay. Here we go again.
That's pretty neat.
That's it.
And it ran a Chevy motor, huh?
Yeah, they had a small block Chevy motor in them. They'll run about 35 miles an hour, though, man.
Yeah.
Those things will do it. So they're a lot of fun. Tracked vehicles are fun.
It looks like someone's are they? This thing's don't float, do they?
Yeah, they're amphibious.
Wow, that'd be pretty slick.
Yeah, so there's that kind of thing. I actually, speaking of which, I ran across a 68 Corvette today.
Oh, I love those cars.
Factory big block car convertible. That a friend of mine has. And I may have to pick this up, man. The price is right on that.
That's all.
I've always liked the 68, 69, 68 through 72, the chrome bumper of the first Shark style.
Yep.
I've always loved that. Of course, I remember those as a kid. Anything after that, they got the big plastic bumpers and they got really ugly. But, man, this being a big block convertible is pretty cool.
How's the bird cage?
I don't know yet. I haven't looked at the car.
Okay.
It's a barn find. So, and those Corvettes, those especially, they're bad about rusting up in the back.
Yeah, chassis rust. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll break right in half on you.
But they make the patches for them. They make the chassis patch.
They do, and there's so many companies out there now that just have replacement chassis that are really affordable.
I mean, a car like that's the one I want, 68 to 72. I've always wanted one, a convertible, and I'll take it without an engine tranny because I got one sitting in my garage. But so I don't care if it's original. But
Ray, tell the truth. It's sitting right next to you in the basement.
No, I got Pontiac parts in the basement and some Buick stuff. The Chevy engine's out under the bed, but close. But you think, and I console people about this all the time. Like, okay, barn find. We all just had a picture on our heads of what that car, of what we would want it to look like. But in reality, depending what kind of barn it's been sitting in, the undercarriage, about the rust. The brakes are toast. Everything is just seized and frozen solid. The lines are it's like doom. You don't need a book. Just like everything. Just go down the line.
Yeah.
But still worth it.
That's another car you make a lot of parts for.
I had a 71 Corvette for like maybe 2 days. It was a convertible with the auxiliary roof, like the hard top removable roof.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't drive it. Because I'm 6'3", so it was just like this. It's got to go back. And I always liked the 69 Corvette with that pop out back window, the hard top.
Yeah.
With the T-roof. But I was like, I liked the auxiliary roof, but then, like I said, the reality of it is I couldn't drive. I mean, it was yeah.
That pop-out window continued because I restored the guy's interior on a 72, and that had the removable rear window, and it would stow under the rear lid. There were like 2 brackets to stow it. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, they did some cool.
79.
That didn't.
Yeah, they were great cars.
Yeah,
I always liked the cars. That was the only time I wish I was shorter.
Yeah. I think that's perfect in those cars.
Yeah, they did. They had a lot of room in them, I thought. How tall are you, Terry?
6'3".
6'3". Yeah, you're borderline.
I'm not a small guy. It's like I said, I'm like, okay, I'm comfortable. And put it this way, if you lift up that back end and you were able to slide the chair back a little, now I got all the room in the world. But it's surprising because I drove a 63 and that had a lot of room in it.
Yeah.
That had tons of room in there. I was very comfortable in that. But then, like I said, when I got to that other one, maybe I didn't have the seat back. I don't know, but it was just like You know, it was just like, you know, be careful what you want until you get it, because like, you know, I realized I was like, okay, this is a boyhood dream. I mean, my 69 Camaro, I wanted that, and there was no compromise. I'm getting a 69. I got it, so I had to get that. But I always wanted a Corvette because I liked the way it looked. But then, like I said, the reality of it is, it's 2-seaters, and it's.
Well, that model's narrow too. It's
really small. It's, you know,
really narrow.
Well,
yeah, they had some problems too.
Yeah, my dad had a 69, and we drove it from Florida to here. And this is when I was little, and I used to jump in the back. I'd sleep in the back window.
Yeah.
You have to crawl back there. Is the battery back there, something like that?
Yeah.
No, the battery's behind the seat.
And it's there.
Box that rusts out because there's some wood and metal in the bottom of that. Yeah, that's a nightmare. Oh, I hated doing the carpet back in there. Oh, that was a terrible job.
Yeah.
Oh.
Gentlemen, I must go because my little son, it's time. He's asking for daddy to put him to bed and read him a little bedtime story. You know,
he's late tonight.
Yeah, he's up for a little bit because he's not going to school tomorrow. So, you know, the lady
he's been drinking coffee while his dad was down.
He's sticking his head every now and then up there. You know, but listen, gentlemen, it was great. Stacy, we'll be talking. Ray, we'll be talking.
Be easy.
Sounds good.
Always be easy. Louis, we'll be talking. Everyone in the chat room, be easy, and I will talk with you guys real soon.
Yes, sir.
Sounds good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Terry's a good dude. I'm gonna get Brian in. Stacy, I'm gonna jump off too because I gotta get up early. But we have the after party. Ray handles the after party.
Yeah.
And the fellas, you know, they come on and I don't know what they talk about because I'm gone. But
you know, typically when we started this a couple of years ago, the after party was me, Terry, John, and then Brian came in, and we would talk music because John, Terry, and I are all drummers, so we just naturally went to drums and music, and now it just became the free for all. But hang with us. And if Stacy, if you're interested, you want to come on the radio show on Motormouth Radio with us one Sunday, we'd be happy to have you on.
Wait a minute. You did it wrong, Ray.
Yes, what? I'm sorry.
Stacy, everybody that comes on Planet Traffic is automatically shifted over to Motormouth because he's our affiliate radio channel. Nationwide, worldwide, radio channel. So there you go.
So Louis will send me your info and I'll be in touch.
Awesome.
So Louis, send me his info, please.
Gotcha.
All right, thank you.
It's covered.
All right.
Stacey, hey man, I really appreciate you coming on again. And if you ever need anything from me, let me know. And you're family now, so you got to come on anytime.
All right, I'll keep in touch with you. I'll send you one of those books too.
No, you don't have to. I started on this one. I'm good.
With a pouch.
I need a pouch, right?
Just got to send them a shoebox for the receipts.
Yeah. That's what you should have done. That'll fix me. Send me a shoebox.
Yeah, that sounds good. I probably ought to get going here too.
All right. Hey, let everybody know what your websites or any way that people can see your shows or stuff like that.
We are on. It's Motor Trend now. Used to be Velocity, and they changed that. We're on Motor Trend Saturday mornings, and we're on MAV. MAV is doing a bunch of stuff. MAV TV. Every Sunday, we're kind of taking over. They're doing big. Where you can just view 10 shows, kind of thing. So it's a cool deal that they're trying to do. Obviously, we're on Amazon Prime. You can also, see the shows on our website. The Restoration series is on Amazon Prime. And I have a new show that we're working on, which has to do with music and stuff. That's all I can tell you right now. But it is going to be awesome. And I really want to have a lot of people in the automotive world involved with it. So it's going to be fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm in. All right, cool. So what's your website?
Website is stacydavid.com or GearZTV.com. Both go to the same place. And that's the best way to get us. and see, we have updates going there all the time. And we're doing a lot on social media since COVID hit. You know, we got all kinds of stuff that we're doing, you know, and now that, you know, SEMA's out, we've got a lot of stuff that we're really pushing.
PRI too.
Yeah, PRI just got canceled. We knew that was coming. That's just, you know, it's just too early. And I know Holly did LS Fest last weekend, and they did a good job putting it together, but it's just, people are still skittish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just early, but.
Okay, well, we'll stay in touch, and I'm going to jump off, but you guys will stay on, like I said. And Stacy, if you need anything from me, just hit me up, and you know, everything will be good. Thank you for coming on, man. Appreciate it.
We'll
and I'll send you a link of this whole video, so if you ever need to, you know, use it.
Okay. Very cool.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you next week. Oh, we might have today. I've talked to Steve Darnell from Welder Up.
Cool.
Yeah.
Vegas Rat Rods. So, but he's kind of fly by night, man. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I get together with him almost every year at SEMA, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
so he says, "Oh, just let me know," and I give him a date, and he didn't get back. So
yeah,
I gotta almost kidnap him to get him on, but we'll get him on.
It's the joy of booking guests, man. I go through it all the time.
Yeah,
the joy of living in the desert.
Yeah.
He's a good dude, man, but it's hard to pin him down.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Okay, well, I'll see you guys next week.
All right, Lewis.
All right.
Sounds
later.
good. Yeah.
You know, if you want to test again during the week.
Okay.
All right.
Stacy, you got any experience with these Holly digital dashes?
Yes. What's it doing
I'm
to you?
trying to figure out how I hook in the 0 to 90 ohm sending unit from a stock Camaro gas tank into that dash. I'm looking all around. I can't seem to get any answers.
Have you talked to the guys at Holly?
No, that's the next one. But I'm in other words, I'm trying to not reach out to them, but in other words, you constantly get referred to their their message board where there's all these different subjects and the whole 9 yards. So I got this Camaro project I'm working on. It's got a 632 pump gas motor, Holly 4500 sniper unit. And I have to start doing that wiring now. And I'm like, okay, how am I supposed to wire in the fuel gauge and the oil pressure? I have the sensor. It's a 3-wire sensor. And I'm like, all right, I got 3 wires, but I haven't been able to find any instructions for, I'm old school drag car. Give me an MSD 7AL with a crank trigger. Yeah, I'm ready to roll.
Transponders. There's got to be some transponders or something to switch the signal from digital, like an A to D converter from analog to digital.
Yeah.
That has to be. There's no two ways about it because you have an analog signal and you got to go to a digital readout.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I have the Holly sending unit for the oil pressure, and it's a 3-wire deal. It's a +5, a negative, and another wire.
Yeah, 5's a sensor.
Okay, so how do I create a cable out of that plugs into this fuel injection unit? And then again, the 1 wire that's coming out of the sending unit, how am I supposed to hook that into this digital dash? It's got 2 USB jacks in the back and this stuff, which actually plugs in to the ignition system and the fuel injection.
Yeah, those are the questions. I think you're missing a couple of harnesses, a piece of a harness or a couple of adapters.
Yeah. Call the guys at Holly, man. Get on the horn with those guys because they're changing stuff all the time. And I get with them all the time on that kind of stuff because I usually get the new stuff that's coming out, and I'm like on the horn with them guys. What are you doing here? Oh yeah, well we forgot to send this, or we forgot to include that.
I went through that problem because the guy that owns the car that I'm doing here. He bought this motor from Blueprint Engines. It's 800 horse pump gas motor. It comes with an MSD distributor, but it's the MSD distributor that's basically like a modern HEI.
Okay.
You plug a coil onto it and 12-volt power, set your timing, and you're ready to roll. You don't have to do anything. But we decided to go, since it was a Holley EFI system, we decided to go with the Holley, their Sniper ignition system, which is a digital box.
Yeah.
So, and their coil. That distributor won't drive that because it's already got everything in it. So I called Holley and said, well, what distributor do I need? So they give me a part number for the distributor. I get the distributor and I'm like, this isn't going to work. There's no way of connecting this. I call Holley back again and the guy goes, they told you to buy the wrong distributor.
Yeah.
So like $335 later, twice, now I have the right distributor. So luckily I was able to return, the first one that we bought because I never took it out of the box.
John, like we talked about, that's the same thing that happened to me with Willwood and with Global West suspension. It's like, at Global West, Doug says to me, well, wait a minute, no, man, he gave you the wrong stuff. Who sold you that stuff? So I gave him, I forget the guy's name, but it ended up being his son. And he was like, ugh. I'm like, I haven't talked. I said, I don't really care. I just want to get it rectified. It's not in the car yet. I just want it solved, but he should learn for the future, that this is what he can and can't do. Yeah. So
the other thing I have to do is I have to learn some of this programming, which everybody says is pretty easy. This car's got a turbo 400 and you've seen them. If you look at the linkage that Holley's using now, it's similar to the carburetor linkage of the old days, but it's not. Yeah. So you can't hook up a typical turbo 400 kickdown switch.
Yeah.
There's no way to adapt it to the linkage that they have. And you can't do like this. Remember the simple days when you had nitrous oxide, you would just mount the switch off the stud and when the arm came down, it would close the switch.
Yeah.
That little tab that used to close the nitrous switch is not on the new linkage at all. Yeah. So everybody's like, well, just, create a ground signal off the wide open throttle and fire a relay. But you got to program that. So now I have to learn how to use that little stylus and program that stuff, And I'm I'm getting ready to pull out my hair. So
you gotta find a niece or a nephew, who's like around 13 or 14 years old.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Well, the last time I spoke to the guys at Holley when they gave me the right distributor, he goes, you have the instruction book that comes with the unit, right? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, well, that's just the easy version. He says, like when you buy a computer, the fast way. He goes, no, you need to go download the PDF. He goes, it's 74 pages.
Great.
He said, so download that and start reading. He goes, because you would be really surprised at what this fuel injection unit's capable of doing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, well, the customer just wants to get in the car and drive, I don't need custom timing advances or not. I said, I just need to be able to get it running. He needs to be able to drive it. When he stomps the loud pedal, it needs to shut off the air conditioning compressor and downshift the turbo 400. He goes, relay. Just run that through a relay. Not a problem. I'm like, all right, fine.
What he's telling you is that system can easily emulate any factory ECU where it's already programmed in. But you just have to customize the program to do what you want it to do.
Yeah. Well, I found a videotape of some Yahoo out somewhere in the woods, and he had the digital dash also, and he was doing the same thing, hooking up his gas gauge, but he opened up the unit and he had to do some jumper stuff and somehow wire it in with some extra harness, and then he flipped it back over and he had to create the channel, and then he had to create a slope, the 45-degree slope graph from 0 to 90, and then start plugging in all these little dots. And I'm like, it's got to be easier than that.
No, again, John, that's the analog version of what's going to be the digital output. Right. It really, that's the thing. I mean, people don't realize there'd be no digital without analog. It's You know, I mean, we use Windows on a computer, but it's a DOS program. It's under there. It's underneath. They just hid it so deep, and that's the same thing that you have to go through.
I'm kind of hoping it's as simple as buying a dongle that'll plug in, and it's a DA converter, and then you just open up the channel and tell it what's the maximum ohms, what's the minimum ohms, and
that would be nice.
You know,
Yeah,
that would be nice.
that would be nice. Yeah,
well, you're going to find out, and we'll learn through you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. Very cool. All right. Hey, well, that's really cool that you're going to be doing that music deal.
Yeah.
I'm a psycho drummer. I have a drum set like Neil Peart.
Do you play like Neil Peart?
Not as good.
You know, it's like that.
If you can get in the ballpark, you're awesome.
I can play YYZ. I've been playing drums since 1972.
Wow.
I'm an old fart, 62.
It's like what I started, yeah.
Yeah.
Same time.
And I've always been a traditional double bass guy. I don't go for a double pedal. I got 2 bass drums, yeah. And he's seen this. Ray's seen the kit. It's huge. I have a gigantic Ludwig kit. It's 14 drums.
I just sent you a link. I put the link in the chat before for Hal Blaine's. He had the first
Yeah.
And you had no bottom heads on them. They were custom made, and I think it was about at least 12 to 14 drums.
Yeah, concert toms. Yeah, my drums start at 6 inches. It's like a bongo. Goes all the way to my toms go all the way to 18. My floor toms are 18 and 20. I got 24 basses, and I got a metal 5.5 14, and I've got an oak 6x14.
I got those sound awesome, man.
Oh, it's all total. It's Ludwig. It's all Ludwig stuff. Yeah. And then and I'm a Zildjian guy. I have like 24 Zildjian cymbals. Like I don't have them all set up, but I have about 10 of them around the set. You know, I have some. I collect some like rare vintage stuff. I have a 1970 24-inch Earth Ride, which was one of the most recorded ride cymbals in rock history. Like every good studio had an Earth Ride. And what the Zildjian company would do is they would partially lathe the cymbal and then stick a bunch of them in an open metal case and literally bury it in the backyard of the Zildjian factory, cover it with dirt, and come back 2 years later and pull this out and then do the finished machining. And they say that the dirt and the moisture does something to the bronze mix to create this insane sound. And the Earth Rides are ridiculously heavy. I mean, my 24 Earth Ride, it literally weighs about 8 pounds.
Wow.
You got to hit this thing to get it to ring. But when you flip the stick and hit the butt of the stick on the bell, it'll pierce your ears.
Yeah.
They say it's one of the loudest bells ever created from Zildjian.
Those Zildjian brothers were ahead of their time, that's for sure.
They were wild. Yes, I have a whole bunch of different Zildjian cymbals, different types of hi-hats, crashes, rides, all of that. So it's cool. Very cool. My wife got me back into it because I had stopped for a while. And my daughter wanted to learn how to play guitar. And she's like, well, you're like the ex-rock musician. She goes, figure it out. So I bought her a Strat and a little Fender Champ. And she started taking lessons. And but she never got into lead. She was always like a rhythm type of player. I'm like, come on, you got to take that E string and you got to shove it all the way up the neck. No, I don't like that. I don't like that.
Somebody's got to play rhythm.
Oh yeah.
She always wanted to play rhythm, you know. And then she fell in love with a really, really beautiful Ovation acoustic electric that we bought her in a beautiful, like a redwood color, a really deep burgundy. And she says, well, you can have the Strat. And I'm like, awesome. I said, now I'm going to buy myself a Marshall and I'm going to learn how to play guitar. That's still on my bucket list because the guys in my high school band, they both had full stack Marshalls.
Yeah.
And the bass player. Remember that amp company Acoustic?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. My bass player had big acoustic boxes and one of those amps, and I always wanted to own a full. You go to the music store now and you look at a Marshall full stack. It's not what it was in the 70s.
No.
They're downsized.
Oh yeah. They're mini.
They shrunk the cabinets, but they still use the same code: 1960A, 1960B.
Yeah. The
Three quarters the size.
Yeah, the electronics.
I need a vintage Marshall that's like 7 feet tall, with like a 200-watt head, just so I can say I have it. That's a bucket list thing. I have to buy one of those.
Well, then find yourself an old Ampeg head, a tube head.
Yeah, or an Ampeg. Yeah.
Oh yeah. You remember those old customs that had all like the Naga hide all over?
Yeah.
The sparkly stuff. Yeah.
Tuck and roll. Yeah, guys had tuck and roll heads.
Yep.
Now a lot of guys are using the crate and orange. They're using that stuff is very popular.
Well, a lot of that stuff came back.
Yeah.
Custom came back. Orange came back. A bunch of that stuff all came back. You go to the music store today, you go to Guitar Center, that stuff's there now again, but it's all electronic.
Right.
Why?
It's cool. Like new breed of welders. Everything is they're all chip machines or more transformers. It's It's just MOSFET technology, so you can carry things nice and light. Great duty cycle. It's just you pick it up, you say, "What the hell?" There's no oomph.
Yeah. Well, I'll reach out to you. I would love to be involved in that show you're doing. That would be great.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. Yeah,
that'd be really cool. That's excellent.
That drum set.
Huh? Yeah. Can I put photos into your email?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll send you some photos.
Absolutely.
Big, huge.
Let me know what happens with the Holly.
Yeah. It's a big, bad black kit, black and chrome.
Yeah.
We spoke like at SEMA 2 years ago. I showed you pictures of my 81 Trans Am.
Okay.
This one.
Okay.
I told you that I sold it in '92. It was one of the 10 fastest street legal cars in America.
Yeah.
And then I got it back. And I'm going to do full restoration. It's behind me.
Wasn't there a fuel altered called Half Breed?
May have been. There's been a bunch of stuff called Half Breed.
Yeah.
I thought I was like the only one on Long Island, back in the day. Turns out that I met another guy that had an Oldsmobile 442 that he took the Olds motor out, put a big block Chevy in it. He called that Half Breed also.
Oh, yeah.
It's weird. What are you going to do? So that's another project. This Camaro's leaving in a couple of weeks, and then I get back on my car.
Yeah.
Actually start my car. I'm going to order your book. I'm going to go online and order your book.
Awesome. It'll help you.
That's going to be a deep project because it's still got a stock front frame and it's a back half car. And it was an 8.5 second car back in the 90s, early 90s.
Yeah.
And still being driven on the street. But now I'm going to, as an ex-pro chassis builder, I'm building that one more time for the last time. And I'm putting in a full chrome molly tube chassis.
Ooh,
I've been collecting parts. I got a bunch of stuff. I'll put a big block pump gas motor in it. I have a Lenco transmission for it. So that'll be a lot of fun to drive on the street. Nothing like a Lenco.
Going on up there?
What'd you say?
You got a lot of street racing going on up there?
I'm in Florida. Yeah. There's a bunch. I'm in the area.
It's everywhere.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of street racing going on everywhere. Long Island especially because they don't have any drag strips anymore.
Nope. Yeah.
I heard that. They got a huge street racing, thing going on, and it's a shame that the politicians, they don't want anything to do with drag racing because not in my backyard. It's too noisy.
I'll tell you what, man. I've got my own idea about that. We need to be really careful as an industry because we're being set up, and if all this street racing takes off like it's going to, and all it's going to take is some really bad accidents, which will happen, and some stupid politician's going to come in and they're going to bring in a bill, and all this stuff goes away.
Yeah.
You know, it could happen like that because we don't have a Second Amendment protecting us like gun guys do. You know, so we have to be careful, man.
That's something that SEMA is constantly, you know, working to fight.
Yeah.
You know, that clunker bill. They've tried to kill us numerous times. Thankfully, SEMA is able to hold that stuff off. But yeah, this whole deal with street outlaws and all of this no prep stuff, which is now more popular than NHRA racing. It's ridiculous. You know, it's absolutely ridiculous what they're doing.
I don't know how they do it and don't get sued. I don't know how they do that show.
Well, I actually did an episode with the guys from Memphis. A bunch of guys from New York hooked up with them, and they called me up because they needed a chassis guy to help them set their cars up on the street. So the production company has a legit contract with the city to utilize a street. And there's ambulances, there's wreckers, there's police. They're all there. They're just out of view. And, you know, they check everybody out. You got to jump through some hoops, and you got to sign a bunch of waivers and the whole deal. And they have, you know, a basic time limit as to when they can start and when they got to finish, because a lot of these roads get used during the day.
Yeah.
And there they are. They're setting stuff up, you know. The one from Memphis, it's a road that runs next to like the port, and it's about a 6 mile long dead end road. So they're at the point where there's a turnaround for the tractor trailers that are lining up to go into the port to either pick up containers or drop containers, and they start after that. And there's nothing for about 3 or 4 miles. There's nothing coming the other way. It's a dead end road. And what they do to keep it fair is they keep moving the starting line every couple of episodes, so you're back on fresh pavement. But it was very controlled, yet it wasn't scripted whatsoever. There was nothing, no rules from production. There were no suggestions from production. It was just, here we are. You guys do what you do. Bunch of cameras, drones, booms, filming everything going on. And then they put it together as a show. So in that respect, they've got their act together. But, you know, the whole idea of this street racing, I used to street race. And then I got into building race cars, and I got out of it because A, it's not safe, B, it's illegal, you know, and it's just, I don't condone it. I really don't at all. I was the guy when I had the Pro Street Trans Am that was one of the fastest cars around. I was not the guy that would jump on it coming out of a parking lot. I wasn't the guy that would pull up to a stoplight, somebody rev their engine and they want to go, and I would be like, yeah, right, see you at the track.
Yeah.
You know, I tried to take the high road the whole time because I had a lot to lose.
You have to,
But a lot of the guys don't. They don't care. They just don't care, you know. And you see it all the time. Accidents from idiots, you know, street racing.
Yeah.
And it's hard enough to try to get the news people to actually call it street racing, illegal street racing. They call it drag racing, which it maligns the sport. So many times I've written letters and emails and phone calls to the local media and tell them, look, here's the deal. I'm a licensed NHRA racer. You need to stop saying what you're saying and say what it really is.
Yeah.
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So, all right. Well, it was good talking to you, man. I'm glad to talk to you for a couple minutes. Yeah.
You do.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll reach out to you. I'll send you pictures of the kit. It's a monster.
Okay. Sounds good, man.
All right. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
What's up there, Mako man?
Brian, I think I asked you this week ago. That's a Mustang shifter behind you, hey?
Is that a roll of toilet paper back there?
No, it's
paper towels. Yeah, this is 4-speed shifter,
nice.
top loader.
love top loader.
Yeah, it was the old
65,
reverse lock.
65 to 67, but it's a 65 shift knob.
What's
Is
the
that little
difference?
those little grabby ears? Is that like a reverse lockout kind of thing?
Yeah, that's to put it in reverse.
Yeah, to pull up on it.
What did they do to change the knobs? What was the
One was black, and then like 67 had a white top on it. They just had a couple different variations.
Okay.
But the first year, is always what most plain Jane, before they had to put the horse on it or say Mustang or whatever, they start
hard it up a little bit?
Yeah, they start getting it all duded up
Right.
for Sunday afternoon.
Right.
Yeah. So no, it's only been about 10, maybe 14 years since I last talked to you, Stacy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you were at one of our conventions. I'm a Matco tool distributor. So
I remember that. Yeah, that was when I was doing trucks. Yeah.
Yeah, back then. So it was when you were at the convention and so forth. That was last time I talked to you. You haven't changed much. You still look good.
Well, I appreciate that, man.
I'm just a little bit more grayer, and I probably didn't have the beard back then. But like I said, yeah, that was we really had a good thing with muscle car and trucks and all that. We still do, but we just never capitalized on it. We never expanded when it started taking off.
Yeah.
So. And are you still sponsored from Cornwell?
Yeah, we've been doing Cornwell. The thing is, when I left trucks, I was using Mac, and then they did the deal with Matco like the year before I left. So that's when we did that show there. And gosh, I remember I forget the guy's name that was in charge of the Matco deal, but I always liked your tools. I mean, I always thought you had good tools, but
yeah,
when I started doing GearZ, I wanted to stay away from all of that stuff, I had some relationships with the Cornwall guys, and I'd always liked them too, but it just felt safer to stay away from,
Oh, I know where you're going. I mean,
I didn't want to compete with anybody. I didn't want anybody to say, "Hey, you stole the contact," or,
Yeah.
I'd rather take the high road on that kind of thing.
Right. No, I know. I understand. Huh?
You still with Matco?
Oh yeah, it's been almost 19 and a half years or whatever. So
Yeah.
I've been doing it. So I'm hitting. Hopefully.
That's about how long ago that was.
Yeah, no, it was like I said. It was. I thought that you were at 2 of our conventions. I don't know, maybe 1, but I know.
I think there was 2. I got that Rat Thing box.
Yeah.
Remember, you guys did those Roth boxes.
Yep. We still do them throughout the. We don't do them as much, but we just did one. We came out with our new purple. It's very similar to like the Chrysler
Plum Crazy.
Plum Crazy, yeah.
Cool.
And we did a Rat Fink box and that and so forth, yeah. So it's been a while, but like I said, I understand that corporate stuff is very difficult.
Oh yeah.
A good thing, you take a good thing and they'll, like I said, they're either counting nickels and dimes, and it's hard to tell them what you really want. So.
Oh yeah.
It's
No,
kind of
I've been
crazy.
through that with. Well, when I did a few years ago, I did a couple of trucks for Dodge, and it was in their booth at SEMA and all that kind of thing. We had a great relationship with Dodge. I mean, we helped them introduce that Express truck. I got the very first one, modified it on the show. It was a really cool deal. So we were really in with Dodge. And then all the people that I was working with there left. They went to Chevy or Ford or retired or whatever. And within 6 months, it was all new people. And they didn't want anything to do with anything that the people before them had been doing.
Right.
It was like almost all of a sudden, they wouldn't even return my call.
Clean piece of paper.
Oh yeah, it happens like that, especially at the corporate level. So, you know.
Yeah,
So
it was funny because couple of years ago we had the welder up, Steve Darnell, come out. He came out when we were in Vegas. He came out and crashed our expo, and you know, Gilmore and I can't remember the right hand guy, but you know, he cleared the showroom floor because he brought all his cars up. And he's like, man, when are you going to return my phone calls? You know, he's like, look, you know, I love my Mako guy. I buy a lot of Mako tools. This is what I like to do. And it was funny because he ended up, the CEO and a couple guys went out to a shop. And then the next day or 2 days, the following day, I was having lunch with them at the expo. And Tim goes, hey, I got to ask you a question. Do people really like that stuff? You know, because it's just all over their head. So
yeah.
It, you know, and I don't know if and I know that he's never gotten a full answer or gotten what he wanted, but they just sit and, like I said, it just takes forever for that stuff to work out. And like you said, you get two new people, they might not like you or not like the idea, and they just move on. So it's kind of weird.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a crazy deal.
So, but it was good seeing you again. And
you too, man.
When you were when you did the trucks, you even need the gears. I guess some of the guys will say, hey, this guy Stacy was using this. Do you have the same thing? So it does help us distributors. So, you know, it's always good. And you know, like I said, it's great having the product out there. So hopefully you get some good use out of it.
Oh yeah,
and you're an influencer.
Yeah,
always
Not
been a
bad
good
at all.
influencer.
yeah.
No, seriously, you come across as a guy that's you can be quick friends with. That comes through on the show.
Well, good. I hope so.
I mean, seriously, it's the way you explain stuff. It's on a real one-to-one, you know, level with whoever's watching it. If you got anything to do with cars, you get it. If you don't, you can learn from the stuff that you've done through the years. You got a good way of doing it.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that means a lot. That means a lot. You know, I grew up in shops like a lot of you guys did. And I remember, you know, I was so frustrated growing up because a lot of these guys wouldn't teach me stuff. And they would hold it close to the chest. You had to earn it. You know, so I remember asking guys, you know, how to time in a cam or how to degree a cam or how to weld or how to do something like that. And a lot of times they're like, you're too stupid, you know, just sweep the floor, do that kind of thing. One of these days, you know, and I was just like, you know, I'm asking you questions because I am stupid. So teach me, you know, or quit being a moron, you know. And they're like, well, you know, maybe this guy does care or whatever. And eventually they would come around to it. But I always kind of approach this. You guys remember Bruce Lee?
Sure.
You know, kind of the thing that, you know, I was a big Bruce Lee fan. And one of the things that always impressed me about him is that he took what was like secret and he gave it to the world. And that's kind of the way I felt about some of this stuff. It was like, let's take the mystery out of automatic transmissions and painting and building a car and all this stuff, you know, to where you don't have to go to that shop where the guy's in there doing some sort of hoodoo back behind the back that you're paying big money for and you don't know what it is because he won't explain it to you.
Yeah.
So, and it's like, let's reveal to him. So now when you go into a place and say it's a body shop and they said, well, you know, I had to cut out this rust and, you know, put in some metal kind of thing. You know exactly what they're talking about. Sure. And you're like, okay, can you show me the panels that came out? Why did you do that? Why did you replace it with this? And all of a sudden, even though you didn't do the work yourself, you're less inclined to get ripped off. Yeah. You know, and you at least know. You can talk to a guy that's an engine builder, and in 10 seconds you can know if the guy knows what he's talking about.
Yep.
You know.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
And so it's just one of those deals. So yeah, we've always tried to approach it that way.
I was working with a guy a few years ago who was very knowledgeable, and he was teaching me some things I didn't know. And I said to him one day, actually more than a few years ago, it's a while ago, and I said, man, you're giving up this information so easy. Guys don't do that. Why? What's your mindset? And he says, well, I'll tell you what. He says, because I'll show you what I'm doing. I'll show you how to do it. He goes, doesn't mean you're going to be able to do it yourself. And that follows like with painters and pinstripers. And like, yeah, I'll show you how to do it, but it doesn't mean you're going to. And music too. Like, sure, I'll show you how to play that. Doesn't mean you're going to be able to do it, but I'll show you. And that's, I think, so I took that as my own mantra. I start from that level. Like, yeah, I'll show you whatever you want to know. Whatever I know, I'll show you. And then it's up to you to be able to carry it through and go from there to learn. And
well, I'm sorry, Ray, go on.
No, go on, Brian. I think if people start from that level, there'd be a lot better interchange back and forth,
Yeah.
And kids will have a chance.
It's kind of like a dying breed, and you gotta explain or show on, because it's so funny. I walk into shops and there's young kids there, and they're like trying to scratching their head why a car won't start. But you still they don't teach the basic part of it.
Yeah.
Right.
And they just look at a computer box and say, well, this is the problem, but you still have to have these certain inputs.
I can't tell you how many times I say that at the shop. Like, listen, man, you need air, you need suck, squeeze, bang, blow. I said, that's what you need. Without that, you ain't got shit. I said, so if you don't start there and verify that, like, don't even think about a breakout box. Like, what are you, nuts?
Yeah.
It's like,
we all know, though, that I think it has to do with the bean counters, that mechanics today, they're not mechanics, they're parts changers.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No, they're not problems.
It's easier to just pull a unit out and throw another one in.
Sure.
Than it is to really diagnose what the problem's at.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a matter of unbolting and rebolting, or unplugging and replugging. They're not the kind of mechanics that we are. That we used to get into stuff and find out what's my motor's got a miss. What's going on? Oh, gee. Well, you know what? Yeah, I got a problem here with the roller lifter. The wheel has broken the axle.
Yeah.
They wouldn't open the motor up for that. They would pull the motor and put another one in.
Yeah.
So. Before, are you still out in Tennessee, Stacy?
Yeah, I'm in Nashville.
You're still in Nashville? Okay.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know if you moved or changed or still out that way.
No, we're still out here, man. Come out and visit us sometime.
What do you think? Well, I'm just
having a good field trip.
Just having a conversation with my wife tonight, because we're, I'm going to be retiring and relocating. And we were down in Tennessee a while ago, 2 years ago, and didn't get to see nearly as much of it as we wanted to. But I know Tony DeFeo over in Nashville, Uncle Tony's Garage. Now I've been watching his videos for the last 2 weeks. All his videos have been inundated with cicadas. And I'm like, damn, I hate those freaking things. Like, we get them up here for like a week and then they're gone. He's had them for like a couple of weeks straight. Like, what's going on in Nashville?
Well, we don't have through that. So hopefully it's not time. Because what is it, every 7 years or whatever?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. They're ugly looking bugs too.
Oh yeah, we get them in the yard. I had a cat used to pick them up in her teeth, and they'd sit there, and the wings would be fluttering, and the cat would just have them in her teeth.
Oh yeah.
I had a golden that used to dig them up or go after and eat them.
Yeah,
need to be all foamy because when they whatever they were filled with. I don't know how that could be entertaining and tasty. I don't know, but
so
it's a dog.
My question is, what's your professional opinion about relocating to Tennessee? What would you recommend for a Yankee like me?
As opposed, you mean like should you do it or should you not, or what's?
Yeah, or where to go? What areas are? I mean, that's kind of a huge open question. I don't expect you to really give me a definitive, but just a broad, what to expect kind of thing.
Well, before the COVID thing, Nashville was the #1 real estate market in the nation for most of the year before that. We're growing in leaps and bounds. And most of it is because people are moving out of California and they're moving out of Michigan and they're moving out of Chicago. You know, not only that, we have all of the automotive plants. You know, we have Nissan, we have all these places around here. So there's a lot of work here. Now, anytime the city has grown too fast, and so the infrastructure is struggling a little bit. And but it's a great town. I mean, it's just, you know, it still has a bit of a small town feel to it. You can get around pretty easy. There's not like this big downtown with the, you know, you get caught downtown. Nashville is spread out. So if you come down here, I would recommend that you kind of stay on the outskirts and then drive into Nashville.
Right.
Because all the stuff that's going on, you know, all the coffee houses and the college kids, and Nashville is the #1 destination for bridesmaids and bachelorette parties.
Really?
They all find him a cowboy, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of that stuff going on. So you kind of want to stay away from the downtown area when that's going on.
I got a brag.
Yeah, but other than that, you know, the city's, you know, pretty cooking. You know, it's a fun place.
Cost of
Of course,
living.
I've been here since '84.
Talk about, like, is there a lot of new construction or is there a lot of turnover with older stuff? How's the
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of people remodeling classic buildings. You know, this place goes back to prior to Civil War, so there's a lot of history here.
Right.
And there's but a ton of new construction too. You know, the people are building like crazy.
Yeah.
So, and it hasn't really slowed down because of COVID. The real estate market has stayed hot.
What about taxable retirement income and income tax, stuff like that? Is it a friendly state in that regard?
It's very friendly. We have our sales tax is almost 10%. It's 9 something. That's the bad part.
Right.
But there's none of the other stuff.
Right.
That's it. That's
Right.
why it's so high.
Yeah.
That's smart.
It is a right to work state, so you don't have to be part of a union. You don't have to do any of that stuff. You know, like the musicians union or anything like that. You don't have to.
Right.
So it's a good place. Now we have the state of Tennessee is very conservative, but Nashville, the city, is very liberal.
Really?
Yeah. So there's a bit of a dilemma there.
Yeah.
You know,
Let them have it.
Yeah.
We'll stay outside.
Yeah.
Right. I was already thinking the outskirts.
Well, yeah, that's where all the guns and everything are.
That's it. Same thing here in Florida.
We have a little bit of that battle going on there. We have a pretty conservative governor and a pretty liberal mayor.
Oh boy.
So we got that kind of thing going on.
I think that's like programmed everywhere for some reason. I guess, you know.
True.
Well, because the mayors are voted for in the city and the governor is a statewide thing.
Right.
You know,
kind of crazy.
I saw this in a T-shirt store down in Tennessee, and I made it. Yeah, not gonna be able to say it. For some reason, this phone.
Your phone doesn't show up.
I think it's the one. Nah, you know what? Well, all right. It's a T-shirt, and there's a picture of a 45 and a Bible. It says 2 things every American should know how to use, neither of which are taught in the schools. I'm like, hell yeah. Tennessee. So.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think they had one of the peaceful protests downtown that, and they pretty much said, "Don't try that again."
We had one in the little town that I live in. We had one, and on one side of the street was where the peaceful protesters were congregating, and on the other side of the street was basically the hillbilly militia.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Armed to the teeth.
Yeah.
And via loudspeaker, they announced across the street, try anything stupid, we got the guns.
Yeah.
Right.
So they did their little peaceful protest, and then come 10 o'clock, the police got on their loudspeaker and said, "Okay, time to go home."
Yep.
Yeah.
And they all dispersed. So it worked
No
out very
problem.
well. No problems.
Now up here, wherever there's in Nassau County, wherever there's a protest, there's a Blue Lives Matter protest right across the parking lot from them. It's like the cops come out, like just meeting them head on. It's like, okay, you have yours, we'll have ours.
Yeah.
It's
What you got to do. They'll shut that down real quick. So what
But
they
in
should have done in Portland.
in the city, the mayor is just letting them run rampant. He's a very liberal mayor, and he's just letting the city go to hell. New York City is a wasteland right now. It's a shame.
And they're going to have to pay for that.
That won't come back.
Yeah.
No.
Because people are moving out.
People leaving in droves. Yeah.
People are moving out of California like crazy, man. Same thing.
Unfortunately, they want to move to places like where we live, and they want to make it like where they were.
See, that's the thing there. See, I have no problem with anybody moving in, but man, don't bring up your screwed up stuff. You screwed up your state. Either go fix it or don't come and try to change ours.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
So Brian says, "Don't fool with my crab cakes."
Yeah, don't mess. Just shake my head. Just shake my head.
Yeah.
So it's the dilemma I'm facing. It's like, okay, to retire and get the hell out of here where the taxes are high. I don't want to keep, I don't want my retirement money to go up in taxes, but where to go? Where to go and what to do. And I want car friendly. I want gun friendly. I want good people, music, the whole bit.
There you go.
It's a big country.
You got to come south, brother.
And I haven't seen a lot of it, so that's the thing. I'm trying to, do an interview now.
You can't go wrong. You really can't go wrong in any place in Tennessee or Kentucky.
Yeah.
Even into the, Alabama, Georgia, anything in that area. And the cool thing about the Nashville area, you're right in the center hub. 500 miles in any direction is pretty much any place you would want to go.
Yeah.
Even 300 miles.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in New York, you're to Florida.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons the music industry ended up here. It's just a great way to, get anywhere quickly.
Yeah, my wife's been talking about North Carolina too. She likes Matthews, North Carolina, which is just outside of Charlotte, but we've yet to go there. So
yeah, that's
we
a nice area.
this summer, but everything shut down on us. But so
it's a shame.
Yeah, everything just changed. But
well, I think that'll change pretty quickly after the election.
Yeah, we'll see what's going to happen with that.
They're already forecasting up here. They're forecasting doom and gloom and bad stuff happening if it don't go their way. And I'm like, all right, bring it on.
Oh yeah, no, they're they've been after this president, nonstop. So this is
they've been after him since the day he came down the escalator.
Yep, absolutely.
And there's videotape to prove it.
And the thing is, people are like, well, there's going to be a civil war. There's one going on now.
Yeah.
That's what all these protests and stuff. It's just it's just a different version. Everybody's not fighting it yet.
Right.
But these guys are doing all kinds of stuff. The things that they're putting up with is beyond me. The things they're doing with the police and everything is beyond me. That's
mayors are putting up with. Yeah, I mean, letting it go, letting them run rampant, and then handcuffing the police. Don't arrest them. Don't lock them up.
And then if they do arrest them, they let them go immediately.
Yeah, of course, they let them go right away. Yeah.
Why do you think the morale stinks? Why do you think cops are retiring early? They're like, I can't do this. They won't allow me to do my job because you have certain mayors and governors that just don't care.
Where was it?
Yeah.
Was it?
And I honestly think it's a ploy. Let's destroy what's going on here and let's blame it on the current president.
It happened. It just happened here in New York last week. It was like, I think 60 or 80 ranking cops just retired, just put in their papers and walked off the job. I mean, these are ranking guys, detectives, guys who are vital to teaching the younger guys. And they just said, screw it, we're done. We're out of here. And it's been happening in departments all over the country. And that's bad. You know, it's bad for the future. But
Well, did you happen to catch any of those little snippets from that interview that Attorney General Barr did, like in the last 2 days?
I've been catching some bits of it. Yeah, he's pretty.
He was talking about BLM.
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter, and he said that they're using these deaths of unarmed blacks by police as like little tokens of kindling to start these issues, and they're hand picking these. That's what they're doing. This organization is hand picking how they're going to, create their issues. Where before they weren't doing that, but it's utterly ridiculous.
And you talk about I was watching. I think I told this to you last week. I was watching something on HBO. It was a video done. It basically was done about the Watts riots that happened in LA back in '65, and that's when LA burned to the ground. And it only stopped when it reached Hollywood, and that's when all of a sudden everything turned around, and there was lots of beatings, lots of nasty stuff happened, and then they went on and went through history and showed the whole Rodney King thing and the whole Reginald Denny issue, and right up to '93 when the police department changed in LA. But the author, the guy doing this, was a black guy, and he was very well spoken and very well learned, and he said, back then. He covered the Black Panthers and all these insurgent groups that came in. And he said it was thought back then, but never really publicized, that there was groups that were inserted into the protesters of the people who were starting the fires and raiding the buildings and looting. And all of a sudden, that light bulb went off my head, and I'm like, damn, Antifa. I'm like, that's what's going on here. Like, exactly. Now, And that's what he was getting at. He said, everything old is new again. And he said, and he just threw it out there. I was like, so this is nothing new. These groups have been there forever. And that's the real cancer in the whole thing. I mean, protesting is one thing. Everybody has the right to protest. No problem, but it's that group inside the group. It's just like being in Vietnam, right? You had North Vietnamese, South Vietnamese. We're protecting the South, but the North Vietnamese they'll come in, and you can't tell them apart because they look just like the guys that you're fighting with. Those are the guys you're fighting against, and now they can sap you, and throw a grenade in your, in your Jeep or whatever.
Yeah, but the BLM movement is taking a beating in all of this, because if you look at the video footage, the idiots that are burning down buildings and destroying police cars and knocking down statues, they're all white guys and white girls. It's not blacks that are doing this. They recruit. Yet the people from BLM don't want to stand up and go public and say, this is not us. This is somebody else. They have yet to step forward and say, this is not our fight. And so they're taking the beating for it, which is ridiculous.
Why would they do that?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know. I don't think there's any real governing body in BLM.
Maybe, if you follow the next, this thread goes on deeper than that. I mean, Soros comes into it because there's money behind it. So there's a couple different wormholes you can go down. But maybe they were told, hey, you take the hit for the team on this one. This is what you got to do. Maybe. I'm just throwing it out there. It's possible.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why wouldn't they be protesting and kicking? It's like, hey. But
there's a lot.
The few interviews I've seen that the black protesters say, hey, we're doing the peaceful deal, and come 6 o'clock, we go home.
And then
who comes guys that come out after dark that are the problem.
There you go.
And yet these mayors in these liberal states, they tell the police to stand down.
And the newspapers,
and if anything, they're shooting tear gas
to their house.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's what happened with Pelosi. When they started getting close to her gate, all of a sudden things changed in San Francisco a couple months ago, right? Then,
that mayor in Portland, they went right to his apartment complex, and he wound up moving.
These idiots here, they went to de Blasio, the mayor of the city. They went to de Blasio. He's got a house in Park Slope. And they went there like in the morning on a Saturday at like 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. with a marching band. and just were like blaring the marching band, just like to shake him up. But the idiot, he's not there. Like, he rents the house to somebody else. He happened to actually be in Gracie Mansion. It's like, you idiots, you couldn't even get that right. So now you're just disrupting people who are innocent, But that was pretty inventive to use a marching band. I thought that was pretty cool. And they were like, whatever the legalities, it was either 8 or 9 a.m. They just marched down the street and started blaring. John Sousa at the best, right? Crazy.
Well, guys, I got to get out of here. I've got to get up in the morning and just get back to the shop.
Yeah, I'm sure you didn't expect this after show.
No, it's been fun though, man. I enjoy talking stuff, and
this is what we do.
This is awesome, man.
Very cool.
Brian, good to see you again, man.
Yep, good seeing you. Hopefully, I'll run into you. You never know. I always pop up in the corner.
Listen, if you're ever in Nashville, come by and see me, man. We got a shop right there. Just give us a call, and
I don't know. Maybe I'll pack up the fastback and send it down to you. Give you something to do.
What year is your fastback?
66.
I had a 65, man. It's one of those cars I wish I'd have never gotten rid of.
Well, this is from high school. This is my first car, and man, it's in a million pieces. I took it apart before we bought the house, and of course, you buy the house, you're house poor, and then kids come along, and then you start a business, and here it is, 27 years later, and it's still in a million pieces, but maybe one day.
Stacy, we keep threatening to put a posse together and go down there and just help them thrash it out, and just do the build right there.
Well, I got a whole bunch of parts, so
there you go.
Let me know what you need, man.
No problem. No problem.
Hey, Stacy, you should think about for SR71. Maybe you can utilize a flying V somehow.
You know something? I've been thinking about the V. That is definitely something that I've been considering. As far as the guitar, not my favorite guitar.
It's a big clunky thing.
Clunky thing. It's just, I tell people, they're like, well, "What's it like to play a flying V?" It's like it's trying to play an armchair.
Yeah.
So many people, did play those things.
They're big, they're heavy, the body's very thick. It's an unwieldy guitar to even hold, and I don't even play guitar. It's not like putting a Strat on,
No.
Not at all.
So how did Prince play that thing, the musical note thing that he had? How the hell did he?
Who the hell knows?
Oh, you know something? I never saw him really rip on that thing either.
No.
That was more of a cymbal looking thing.
Exactly.
That was behind. He did that behind the curtain when you didn't know what he was really playing.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
He was a good guitarist.
Yeah,
he was.
Yeah,
he was. Yeah.
Did you hear about what happened with his death? That at the pharmacy, the person that filled that prescription put the wrong pills in the bottle.
Really? I hadn't heard that.
Yeah. That came out, I don't know, maybe 8-9 months ago, the autopsy.
Really?
It was the right drug, but I think it was 3 times the dosage.
Holy crap. How the hell do you do that?
Yeah. So he didn't even know what he was doing.
Oh, man.
He killed himself by just taking his drugs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Unbelievable. What a shame.
I heard that.
Yeah.
That's a waste.
Yep. That's where the blame went after the autopsy.
Right.
Yeah.
They tested the pills and they're like, this pill does not match what the label says.
Yeah. When they dropped one and it melted through the floor, that was a pretty good indication that he took the wrong stuff.
Right.
That's when you drop the pill and the dog comes over and walks the other way, there's something really wrong with it,
Yeah. When a hophead says, "I'm out," no way, man, I'm out of here. It's wrong.
Because other than that, the dogs want to take it if it's okay.
Yeah.
Oh well.
All right, boys.
All right. I'm gonna head out here, man. Great to talk to you.
I'll be in touch with you.
Your show, man.
Okay. Good seeing you.
Take care, Stacy. Be safe.
Take care. All right. Bye-bye.
All right.
Oh boy.
Man, he was one of the best episodes so far.
Yeah, I remember last time he was on. It had to be about 2 years ago. It was a good show then too.
Yeah, that was all on the phone. You couldn't get him. He couldn't get his
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was before me.
Yeah. Oh boy.
So yeah, crazy.
They're running around like a maniac.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Remember I told you that I took over a whole bunch of new accounts?
Yeah.
Did I tell you that?
Yep.
So there's one account that when I called them up, the wife was like, "Well, I'm in Colorado." She goes, "And I know the tank looks good, so why don't you come on the 17th?" Like, all right, awesome. So she calls me up and she's like, "Well, I'm still in Colorado, but my husband's home, so you could go clean the tank." So I show up there today. He lives on the water. They got like a 38-foot cabin cruiser sitting at their dock. They've got on the lift one of those pontoon party boats. That's about a 22-footer, big one. He's got a Mac Daddy Prevost tour bus.
Wow.
Sitting in the driveway. He's like, "Go around to the garage because the tank is real close there." He opens up the garage. He's got a 2014 what is it, a Z06 Corvette?
Yeah.
In like lemon yellow. He's got a 500 Mercedes sitting next to that.
Jeez.
And I'm like, "Wow, you're a car guy." He goes, "Oh, yeah. And he's from Buffalo. He goes, "Well, I'll take you to the other garage." He goes, "Because I got like a man cave over there." He's got a 2019 God, I'm trying to. It's a Camaro. It's a 2019 Camaro. But it was done by one of the other companies. In other words, like you go and you buy a $60,000 Camaro, and then you put another 50,000 into it.
Yeah, like a Greenwood kit, or the Greenwood thing, or something.
It's a 1,000-horse motor.
Okay.
Oh yeah. What is that?
Lingenfelter maybe, or something like that, or SLP, one of those guys.
Maybe it's a Lingenfelter.
Yeah.
I forgot what he said
He's
was.
selling some stuff off. I've been seeing his stuff on Instagram. He's been selling off some of his collection.
Yeah. So he's got this 2019 Camaro. It's a 1,000-horse LS motor in it, twin turbo, and he just put in an order for a 21 Corvette.
What's this guy do for a living?
I'm like, "You are my new best friend." So I go in the house, and he's so New York, because you know how New Yorkers always do their basements as like the game room, playroom, bar, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Well, the houses here in Florida, if you're on the water, the downstairs is really not supposed to be living space.
Yeah.
Because of possible flooding. Well, his whole lower level is like a New York basement.
Nice.
He's got a gorgeous bar with all kinds of kitschy stuff, all these little signs and neons and the whole deal. Then he's got these, I've never seen them before. He's got these ceiling fans that the middle of the fan is a jug from a Harley motor.
Oh.
It's all black and chrome.
Cool.
He's got two of them. And it looks like it's the thinned aluminum single cylinder.
Yeah.
Like a Harley, you know?
That's cool.
Not a V-twin or anything.
Right.
He's got all this really cool stuff. Like super cool. I'm like, dude, you are like totally cool.
What does he do for a living?
He's retired. I don't know. I didn't ask him what he did.
Oh, okay.
I haven't gotten that close yet.
All right.
Today was the first day I met him. And he's got this beautiful, like 300-gallon tank that actually kind of looked like I didn't even have to be there this week at all. So I gave it a really good, super deep clean and just made sure everything was perfect because it's a once a month deal.
Yeah.
So I got that done. I'm like, "Yeah, I'll see you next month." He's like, "Yeah." He goes,
Did you guys
once
get
that goes up, he goes, "We'll go take a cruise."
Did you guys get a soaking down there where you were? Did you get wet? I know they were saying it in
well, we got some heavy rain when a hurricane came.
I know they were saying, fuck, what state was it? They said they got 4 months worth of rain in 4 hours. It was like ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. Louisiana.
Yeah, maybe it was, yeah.
We got some crazy rain. I mean, I was here in the garage working, and it sounded like hail.
Wow.
But it was rain. It was just so heavy. My pool overflowed. My pool doesn't overflow. I have there's a vent pipe for the aerators that blow against your back in the spa, and because it just works like on a Venturi deal. So when the water level in my pool comes up higher than normal, it backflows out of that air vent and goes into the backyard. There's like a whole bunch of gravel by the pool screen. There was so much rain so fast that the pool overflowed over the coping onto the patio and then down into the French drain, and actually so much that it started coming, because it's like the pool is here and the patio slopes down slightly to the French drain and then slopes back up slightly to the sliding glass doors. And it came within 2 feet of my sliding glass doors.
Whoa.
It was coming down so fast.
That's close.
You know, and then, but as a typical Florida storm, you know, it lasts 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it goes away. So all that water disappeared. But
yeah, we got the rain right now. It's raining right now.
Yeah, we're supposed to have some overnight too, but I don't hear it. So
no, today was beautiful. Unfortunately, we're on the second hit of love bugs.
Oh, okay.
They come every spring, and they come every September.
What are they?
They were introduced by some laboratory, I don't know, 60 years ago. They were supposed to take care of some sort of pest, but they don't. And all they do is they hibernate all year long. They come out in the spring and they mate. And you'll see them. They're like ass to ass.
Right.
And then they separate and they die. But in the meantime, they swarm. So you're driving down the highway and it's like driving through a barrage of moths.
Like World War II.
Yeah. And
chaff, right?
What they're made of, it's like this clear liquid. When they hit the windshield, it looks like kind of looks like 3M model cement. It'll hit the windshield and it'll dry hard instantly because you're going 70 miles, 80 miles an hour. If you leave them on the paint, the acid in their body will actually eat through the clear coat.
Yeah.
So you got to get rid of them.
Yeah.
So I found the easiest way to get rid of them, believe it or not, is those dryer sheets like Bounce.
Yeah.
You wet the car, you stick the sheet in a bucket of water, and you rub it, and it literally, whatever is in Bounce, which I believe is like a water softener kind of a thing, fabric softener. Those chemicals eat the bug off, and they don't destroy the paint.
Oh, good.
And then you just hit it with a sponge, and it's gone. But you got to do it. Like I wind up washing the front end of my truck like daily now.
Every day, yeah.
They last for about 2 weeks,
and
then they disappear. It's ridiculous.
Jeez.
The spring swarm is much heavier than the fall swarm. So the spring is when everything's a disaster. I mean, my truck was a wreck. It was horrible. You get tired of cleaning it. Yeah, they don't even come off with a pressure washer.
Wow.
You got to rub them off. They're bad news. They're really bad news.
Hey Ray, on your what were you putting the carburetor on?
The Fiat.
The Fiat. Yeah. Did you get that all going?
What do you put on the Fiat? A 1-barrel?
No, it's a 2-barrel Weber.
Oh wow.
The car had originally a 2832 2-barrel. It was a smaller one, and they had restricted the intake. They were going for a little bit of emissions and shit. So when I first got the car, the trick was you bought an 1800. It's a 2-liter engine, but you buy the 1800 intake, which was unrestricted, and then you port match it for the gaskets, and I put a dual 34 millimeter carburetor on there. But I always felt that carburetor, like the 2832 was actually like it had like a staging between the primary and the secondary. So you'd actually get like a little bit of a whoa when you hit it like a quadrajet. And the dual 34 was just, just blah, open. So, and I couldn't get this 34 really to adjust properly. I've been playing with it, but there's not a lot of info. And I have the Weber books, but they're not clear. I'm leaning it out, but you got to go with the air emulsifiers. And the problem is they're not numbered in a logical fashion. So, and I don't have the right information. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to take the 2832 out of the shed and put it back on the car. And I pulled it out, and like the pictures I put up, I opened it, and it was like clean as a whistle. It was like the day I stored it, and I probably have it off the car 15 years.
Yeah.
So I just checked a few things out. I threw it on, threw the electric fuel pump on to get fuel up to it, hit the key, and boom, the car started right up. I'm
really?
Like, it's adjusting. So now I'm just playing with the choke setting because it's a water choke, and they're a little finicky. I have the 34 finally set up right, and now I took it off. So, but yeah, I got to. It's. I haven't driven it yet. I'll drive it tomorrow.
Do you find you have to readjust the choke when the real cold weather comes in?
Well, this car has always been kind of warm-blooded. It likes the warm weather. It doesn't like the cold weather until it's fully warmed up. And then it's got great heat, but it just, it doesn't like to run. And maybe it was just that 34 millimeter carburetor. I don't know, because I've had it on for so long. But I don't really use this car in the winter anyway. It goes in the garage and it just sits until the spring.
Yeah.
So, but now we're down to like 58 degrees in the morning. So
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I like it. I like the temperature change.
I remember those days, where it'd be working in the chassis shop. September comes. It's hot still. It's sweaty. And then there's that one day you step out of the house.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Clean, crisp, cool air.
Yeah.
It's like you look forward to that,
Yeah.
And then you say to yourself, well, it's going to get worse.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But
yeah, it's like the 1 week changing period. You got like, man, this is nice, man, for 10 days. And then after that, it's just
it's going to be warmer again next week. But, today we went out to dinner with the family, and it was like hazy. They said it's the smoke from the California fires that's like, it's not affecting our air quality, but it's blocking the sun. It's in the upper atmosphere.
They said that on the news, that you could actually smell it in New York and New Jersey.
I haven't smelled it here.
Well, yesterday,
how the hell is that happening?
But the light is definitely, you can see that the sun has been, filtered.
Got a haze around it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, heavy haze.
Yeah, yesterday, no, let's see, what was it? Not Wednesday? Wednesday around here, I kept, every once in a while you go, what's that smell? And then you realize, you look off and you can see the haze. It was weird. Yeah. Really weird.
Did you see that stuff? You know how Trump always says, well, the reason you got the problems you have is because you have horrible forestry.
Yes.
You don't clear out all the riffraff and the undergrowth and all that other stuff. And then all the liberals over there are like, he's an asshole.
Uh-huh.
Why does he even think that is right? And then some guy who's a bigwig in the forestry department of the United States of America says that the West Coast states are severely lacking in their forestry management. That they should have been cutting fire breaks. They should be doing controlled burns, getting rid of the underbrush, the whole 9 yards. They all want to say it's this, climate change bullshit, and you get guys like Biden and that AOC. Oh, we need to sign this bill. We need to do this. And it's like, do they think that if you sign the fucking bill for the Green New Deal, that the minute the ink dries, that all of a sudden the general temperature in the world is going to drop?
Yeah, I know.
That there's not going to be crazy ass storms? Nobody wants to realize what the scientists say is, you know what? The fucking Earth's been through these phases thousands of times.
Sure.
You're in a warm phase. You ain't going to change it.
And
the carbon emissions really don't affect any of that shit.
The other thing is, you know, we all live in the microcosm of our day and our lives. But if you pull it back and look at the span of time we're on this earth, it's a freaking, it's not even a freaking needle's end on a gnat's ass. I mean, it's so, but we think like this is the whole freaking world here. It's not. It's not. We're in this stupid little piece you can't even measure it. You know?
They keep pushing that Green New Deal and get rid of all this fossil fuels, and the world would just be so much better.
Yeah.
What, 500 years from now? That's when it'll be better, idiot. You know, it makes me. I can't deal with the stupidity. You want to actually become like, I don't know, John Wick.
Yeah.
You want to walk around. It's like, you just said that? Boom. You just said that? Boom. You really believe what that politician told you? Boom, boom.
Yeah.
You know, some of these people don't deserve to breathe.
Or I like, you know, Ren and Stimpy. You idiot. Ren was the best.
I can laugh. You know, you can't. It's not worth watching the news anymore.
Oh, no.
We watch, believe it or not, because we usually wind up eating about the same time. So we'll watch like the local news to see what's going on, and then I watch ABC at 6 o'clock or 6:30. World News Tonight with what's his face? That young guy with the black hair.
I know his face. Yeah, I can't think of his name.
Yeah. Anyway, we watch that because they'll say one thing on the local network news for ABC. And then he's always got the opposite to say.
Yeah.
And my wife will be like, they just said the exact opposite of what he's saying. It's like, it's this scripted bullshit, you know? And it's always the COVID pandemic. All right, how many thousands of people died today, you know? They just never stop.
Yeah. Hey, Brian, I got something up your wheelhouse here.
Ooh, what's that? Electric fuel pump?
That's an electric fuel pump box, but it ain't no. Oh shit! I broke. Oh no!
Oh, look at that!
Look at that.
Fuel pump.
That's
a Ford.
It's for a Cobra Jet, right?
It's a Ford pump.
428 Cobra Jet.
Wow! You can tell by that big long arm.
Yeah.
Chevy's got the little short one.
I looked up the number and like this thing is going for some money. So I was going through Joe's, some of the stuff Joe had in his garage. I said, listen, let me see if I can clear some of this stuff out. Like this thing goes for a few bucks. I'm like, wow, you know.
So Brian, those Ford pumps, they're triggered off an eccentric on the cam.
Yeah.
That's how the Pontiac
works. Chevy, which uses a big giant push rod.
Right.
Yeah, no, this has a eccentric.
Pontiac uses the same thing. It's a big eccentric disc off the front of the cam.
I always like.
I had trouble putting a mechanical pump in until I realized you have to pull the actuating rod out and put wheel bearing grease on it so it stays in.
So it stays in. That's right.
Yeah. No, I like. We've had a few where people put a cam in and they forget to put the centric on.
Yeah.
So then they wonder why the car never starts.
Well, I've seen guys get it where the arm goes on top of it, not below it.
Right.
There's 100 things you could do wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Those. Yeah.
Long live.
So what are you going to do with all his stuff? What are you doing? You going to try to eBay it off or what?
Yeah, I haven't decided quite how to do it, like what method I want to use. We've been talking about that, how to sell stuff. Like, you know, we've been talking about that for a few weeks.
Yeah.
eBay or Craigslist and I haven't committed to any of them yet. So
Facebook Marketplace, you wouldn't believe the stuff you find on there.
Yeah, that's the other one. Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah, but man, you gotta have a good meeting place because some of the I tell you, man, I just don't need any more good friends stopping by all the time.
No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Meet me at the supermarket parking lot.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about that. Okay, then I guess you don't want it. So fuck you.
Right.
On to the next guy. Yeah. No, never let it come to your house.
Yeah, we did my wife did couple of some stuff on the Facebook market, And it was always funny because she's like, "You got to come with me because I want to go meet this guy," you know. And we have a empty shopping center parking lot down the road, you know.
There you go.
And you go down there, and so it was kind of funny. We had some end tables, and my wife took some really good pictures. And unfortunately, one of the dogs had chewed on the end table. It wasn't real bad, but you know, they even talked about it. You know, so the guy's like, "Yeah, I want him," blah blah blah. So I throw him in the truck, and we drive down there. And the first thing, even before I even got him out, he's like, "Oh man, those marks! I don't know." I slid it back in, closed the lid, and my wife looked at me for a minute, and the guy goes, "Oh wait," I said, "No, you wait. You already knew about this shit. You're wasting my fucking time."
Yeah, there you go.
Got back in the car and drove off. I was like,
your wife's like, "You fucking idiot! The guy had money."
And then she's like, "You know, you're right. That guy, he knew all." I said, "Man, you can't play. These guys want to kick a tire and play around."
You know, it's funny to say that because just today on BAB, there's a show, Roger JP, and JP is the loose cannon.
Love those guys.
Yeah. So he was just saying.
Them down here.
Yeah, I know they do a second show, but he was just saying today how his wife made a deal with somebody on some site to sell something. I know what it was. She said apparently to do like your own canning and jarring. With COVID, everybody started jarring and canning all their vegetables. So he says he goes, the jars you can get, but you can't get lids because the lids, the jars are reusable, but the lids you gotta change because they have a gasket and you need new ones. So she found some guy who had like a box or two and he was going to sell them to her, but they were going to, she told him, she was, "I'm going to meet you like someplace out in Suffolk, like in Copeg or whatever, or Oakdale where he lives." And of course on the radio, he says, "Hey, yeah, honey, listen, I'm not going with you. Like, did you offer him any sexual favors? You gonna wear that low-cut top when you go? Like, what are you gonna do?" She's like, "No." It's like, that idiot would do that, like on the air, to his wife. Trying to be Howard Stern.
Yep.
For real.
Oh shit.
Yeah, they do that same show down here.
No, they do a second show, I guess. So I don't think they're replaying it. I mean, no.
It's a live talk show, and they talk to people basically in Florida.
I'm sure they cover the same stuff, a lot of the same stuff they do.
Yeah, a lot of the same topics and things like that, I'm sure. But it's a whole new, new fresh show, but it's down here in Florida.
Right.
So it's pretty wild,
Yeah.
When they first came on, a couple of weeks after they got on, I called them on the phone. And I was like, "Dude, I've been listening to you guys for years. What are you talking about?" I grew up in East Northport. "Oh my God, really? What brought you down here?"
Yeah.
So, and they've been here. They've flown in.
Yeah.
And done some appearances here in Tampa.
Sure. Yeah, they would have to.
Pretty cool. Yeah, and they were like, "Oh wow, I can't believe it, man! I'm talking to a Long Island guy."
Yeah. Trying to get away from
a lot of us down here.
Trying to get away from you. Hey, Brian, I just saw something. I saw a Matco video yesterday about these new lights. And they showed, it just looked small, but they showed mounting it to the underhood bar.
Yeah.
How big is that light? I couldn't get a gauge on the size. It's 3x3.
It's big. It has two springs and it'll clamp onto the hood.
The bar is big, yeah, but the light itself that they
they're like a size of a quarter.
That small? Wow.
Yeah.
The whole housing, I'm guessing like 3x3 it looked, but
yeah. But
no, so is it clamp on under hood work light?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Actually, it works really good. It springs out. You could put it like if you open roll down the window, open the doors. You could put it inside the car when you're doing dash work or on the front. It's a hell. I had two. I sold them instantly. They're gone. I never even got to play with one. I usually try to play with them to see how they work, or I usually mess with them. So if they're really junk, I stay away from them. I don't need the aggravation.
But those little lights that they showed were pretty cool. It was
Yeah, they were bright. They were real bright. That was I can't remember what it was like 1600 lumens or something.
That's great.
I don't remember.
I can't remember, but
16,000.
1600, 16,000. I don't know. I know it was a lot between the three. So, but it was like the size of a quarter or something. They were bright, pretty bright.
Here it is. Matco Universal Work Light, MWLF-LG2 and MWLMF-M2. There's like 4 different part numbers.
Yeah.
Let me see here.
Introducing the new in.
Yeah, MWLF-LG2 and MWLF-LM2. Yeah, green and M isn't. It's not magenta. It's like that.
No,
yellow.
maroon.
No, it's like that yellowy orange color.
Well, we had orange. Orange was our
green.
green.
They say they turn like 180 degrees.
Yeah.
MWL G2 and M2 lights from Matco Tools.
2100 lumens.
2100. I thought it was 16, but yeah.
That's
2100 each, I think. The both lights, right?
I would imagine.
Yeah.
3 to 4 hours on the battery.
That's cool.
So 2.5 to 5 hour runtime. Upgraded quick release connector with a USB port. 8.4 volt charge. 16-foot cable. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, those. And then there was they had another one also that just came out. That's the only problem. Those lights, man, I'm telling you, it's crazy. Those lights come out, and if you really like whatever light you really like, you better buy a couple of them because that changes, and 3 months down the road it changes, and I get so many guys pissed off because they like a certain light, you know, and it's like, sorry, dude, they don't make it no more. You can't get it, you know.
The only problem is some of that stuff is kind of expensive, so to buy a couple of them is
yeah, well, true.
You know, yeah.
Yeah, that is true. When they're a couple $100, yeah,
right.
That is so. It's kind of some of it's kind of crazy.
I second that, Ewan.
I got to hit the road.
Yeah, man. I can't believe we're on still this long.
I know it's after 12.
Right. Well, 2 hours and 46 minutes.
Maybe the new platform will work next week. We did a test this week, me and Lewis and Terry, and Lewis asked me, he says, what do you think? Should we use the new platform this week? And I said, no, you know what? You already got Stacy booked. Advertise it as such, say on Crowdcast, and then during the show we can advertise the new platform. And he says, yeah, that sounds good. And then he decided to just go over to it. And it didn't work.
When I was on the new platform, I kept popping on, but then I'd pop off. It was kind of weird. Yeah.
We don't know what it is. I don't know. So,
I logged in, not a problem, and I wound up in the preview, and it said you're backstage.
Right. Yeah, that's where I was.
It says the person in charge has muted your mic.
Yeah.
And then Lewis came on, and he was larger.
Right.
But the little red preview light was always on.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to talk to him, and he can't hear me or anything. And I'm like, I don't even think he saw me because I was in backstage.
Uh-huh.
Right, but up in the corner there was a join button. You hit the join. You would
hit the join.
I hit the join button, and then a picture of my camera came on.
Right.
And it was a preview, and then he was in a larger screen. He brought me in for a couple of seconds, and then kicked it back out. But I don't know.
Then he actually got kicked out because I was on there, and then he got kicked out, and he just didn't come back. He couldn't get back in. I was sitting there by myself. I'm like, oh well, whatever.
Ray doing what Ray does best, right? Just
we'll figure it out. Yeah, what the hell? Yeah, that's gonna be an early night.
I tell you, man, this stuff is all so crazy.
It is.
I don't know.
So what's better about that platform?
It's not that expensive. I don't remember what the cost was. It's not too bad, but you can have 6 people on the screen at once instead of 4.
Oh, okay.
And it's secure. He can regulate who comes in. That's the thing. He wants to be able to regulate who can come in and not.
It has a larger chat column.
Yeah, there were a couple of other. Operationally, it was a little different. Otherwise, it was the same. And he said it was.
And then it's got a thing for private messaging.
Yeah. So there were a couple little differences, and it looked good. But yeah, first time out of the box didn't work. So, maybe the second time's the charm. Who knows?
He was getting aggravated too.
Yeah, I know. Well, now you got a guest on the hook that you want, and the guy's an A-list guest, and now he can't get in. So now, that's why I told him. I said, I've gotten bit like that with the radio. It's why I never make a change when I got somebody who, when I got a guest coming on. Like, you make the change on another week when you got nobody.
Yeah.
And this way, if it crashes and burns, so be it.
Yeah, but you guys tested it and it worked. That's the problem.
We did, yeah. Yeah, but that goes to show you never know. You just never know. Yeah.
Unreal. Seems like the only one that doesn't crash is Zoom.
Actually, we had a lot of trouble here with Zoom at the school. They were saying the last couple of days in the morning, they had a lot of trouble with it. I think because all of the schools are using it. And there's a bandwidth.
Has the college said anything about you guys getting back in the studio?
No. Well, not this semester. They're talking about maybe next.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, didn't the college reopen to students?
Only very limited. I've been up to, I actually have clearance to do face-to-face stuff. So I'm in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just for a couple hours each day. And the place is dead. I mean, it's because where I work, we do physics and science labs. So you got to have a certain amount of hands-on. But all the other labs in my department, they're all being done virtually. Everything is virtual.
Wow.
So, and then I work on Saturday because we do a surveying lab, civil tech. And you got to be out there with the instrument. You got to learn. You got to have it in your hand to learn how to use it,
Yeah, Molly's, she goes to Towson State, the university here.
Yeah.
And she was actually supposed to go up there. They actually gave her a dorm because she's got a couple of lab classes. And, of course, the week before, they had 67 cases of COVID and then 110. So they said that's it. They cut it out. And her lab thing is online. And she's, man, it's crazy, trying to learn.
What is she studying, Ryan?
Forensics.
Okay.
She's, I can't think. It's not, God, I can't remember. But it's kind of interesting when you have a conversation with your daughter about how fast a 45 travels through the air. You know what I'm saying? It's
right.
That's cool.
And Molly's
how fast
like,
is it?
How
fast is it?
Like I said, you got it. I mean, she's the rocket scientist, but
that could be like 1,300 feet per second. But tell like a 22 will go a lot faster than that.
Yeah, but we're about the weight, and but she had like one. Slope. She had one thing about like explosion rate, different angles about things flying, and I'm like,
nice,
all right. But it's funny because like I said, Molly's my super. I mean, she. I don't know where she got all her brains from. Definitely from her mother's side, but I mean, but she'll come down and she looked at like the suspension on the rear, and she's like, that I don't think this geometry's right here,
Yeah, ain't it cool when kids start getting an education? My daughter's the same thing. She's doing this design stuff, and she's coming up with these ideas about lighting and this. I'm like, yeah, man, you're right on the nose. You're getting it. And like, my daughter is an engineer. She just graduated from what's the big state up school? Prestigious college. It's up in Ithaca, but not college. It's I always forget the name of it. But anyway, she graduated with a mechanical engineering degree, and you talk to her about stuff like that, like engineering stuff, and you're looking at this little wafy girl, and she's coming out with like hardcore engineering, and you're like, yeah, that's cool.
That's awesome.
It's crazy. I mean, like I said, having conversations like with, I mean, I'm like, it's almost like I got to get that Bosch book out. You know what I'm saying? With all, it's like you're talking. Hold on, let me look up stuff. It's crazy when you talk to her about stuff. But
Yeah. What does she want to do after school? She have any ideas?
Well, I'm hoping she gets into the FBI and into the forensic stuff.
And
so that's what she.
And find you.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, that could be a problem. But you know, I think she'll be okay because I mean, we have a long history of that. I mean, my dad was in the Secret Service. My grandfather.
What was he?
My aunt and uncle were CIA. You know, so I mean, there's a lot of stuff. But and my dad was on from. We used to live up on the Eisenhower farm in Pennsylvania. He was on Mamie Eisenhower detail. Well, for that.
So why didn't you become a cop or something?
Well, my dad. I mean, I wanted to. I mean, but my dad always had this: "Don't do what I did," or you don't have to do what I did, type of thing.
Right.
And
it's good.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, and plus I barely made it through school. So, I mean, that was...
Is that?
I mean, it was hard for me. So, I mean,
I tell you, there's two guys that I'm very close friends with. One was an auto crimes cop in the city. The other guy was a narcotics cop. He was my next door neighbor. And now they're partners again. They each retired from the NYPD, and they went and got into the TSA. And it was funny because at the time, like, no one knew that we all knew each other, but we were all friends.
Yeah.
They would tell me that, each of them, once they put in the papers and put in their application and got accepted, they went down to Quantico, and he says, like, they trained us like we were rookies. Like, they forgot that we were, 25, 30-year decorated NYPD detectives. Like, that was out the window. We were like plebes. They said, like, we were shit. We were just like nothing. I'm like, really? He says, yeah, we had to do everything everybody else had to do. And, now they're both TSA guys at LaGuardia.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's crazy. My dad, like I said, I mean, he was on every protective detail, with Ford, Reagan. He was with Reagan. And all the way up to Bush one.
So you probably know what happened to Kennedy. You're just not telling us.
Actually, we were just talking about this because one time I went to work with him, and we went down, and I sat in that car.
Did you?
Yeah. Of course, that car was cleaned up and it's used for different parades, but I actually sat in that car.
You know what I would like as a collectible historic car is the Pontiac ambulance that they took him away in.
Oh yeah,
you don't see
I know, but every once in a while you hear or see about that car, that ambulance.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Every once in a while it pops up.
I saw something in Hemmings a number of years ago about it, but just because it's a Pontiac, it's just kind of it's like it's cool. It's different.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah.
So, but that's what she's going for, and I hope like I said, it's
how much more time does she have? What semester is she in? What year is she in?
This is her second year.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Good.
So she's got. I'm kind of telling her, of course, with everything, you got to kind of. You don't want to get all the education up front because then they don't want to hire. They want to kind of hire to train you. So hopefully I can get her to start looking here to get in the door.
Well, yeah, but she's got to get the degree, and that, I mean, a lot of companies, especially I know engineering companies like that, they'd rather have someone who has no experience because they can train them their way.
Yeah,
come in with other training that may be not comparable or what they consider bad training. So yeah, they'd rather have them right out of the box.
Yeah. So, but hopefully it works out. Like I said, I kind of worry how crazy the times are right now to be involved in stuff like that. But that's what she wants to do.
I don't think a new agent's going to get right on a presidential detail. So there's probably to do some other stuff first. So maybe.
Oh yeah. Well, Well, FBI is different from the Secret Service, so
yes.
that's that's not that. But I'm just saying, there's enough wackos out there anyway. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
No, they were talking. I heard up here on the radio. They were talking about literally shooting the place up if Trump wins. They're
Yeah.
talking about going ape shit. And I'm like, what else are they going to do? I mean, you lost again, jerks. Like, what are you going to do? But they're talking about really making havoc and wreaking some havoc and violence. And
He'll institute martial law.
yeah, and you have to do it right away.
yeah, it's gonna be
Guaranteed.
crazy.
Once they come up with whatever is the winner.
Yeah.
Once the shit starts,
Oh,
he'll just institute I forget the phrase, and insurgency or some shit like that. He'll do it. He'll just do it.
Oh, I know.
He'll institute that. The National Guard and the Army will come out from everywhere, armed to the teeth, and they won't be afraid to take them down because it ain't going to be rubber bullets and tear gas anymore. It's going to be legit bullets and fire hoses.
It's going to be Kent State.
Yeah.
Well, the only problem with that is when they can't declare a winner, Pelosi will be in there, and that'll be the real fucking plus.
They better figure that out before January.
Well, I'm just telling you, I'm not a fortune teller, and I'm just a guy driving around in a tow truck. But I'm telling you,
every day I keep getting envelopes and requests.
Oh, we get them every day, John. Every
mail.
day. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 a day now, and they come from Melania too.
Yeah.
We get all of them.
I get. Yeah, that's the weird part because Trump talks about get off your ass and go vote. And I've gotten a bunch of stuff from the Republicans to vote by mail.
I have to. Yeah.
I get a ton of stuff from the Democrats, and I get a ton of stuff from people I have no clue who the fuck they are.
We don't get any Democratic stuff.
And I'm like, I am not filling out any of this shit because I'm just gonna go.
Right.
And that's the end of that, Right.
Yep. Yeah.
They're also telling you.
I've
been hearing stuff where they say, if you request the mail-in vote and you get it, fill it out, and then bring it to the polling place.
And go anyway, right? That's
Put it
what
in
I
the
heard.
mail.
They've been saying that up here too, yes.
But I've been seeing all kinds of videos, but who the hell knows what's propaganda and what's not? But they're showing mail-in voting, and in the code with your name, there's a D or an R.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. So how?
This was a video that I saw from a hardcore right winger saying, well, "Look at this. This is a legit government vote by mail, but on the labeling with your name and address, there's a D and an R."
Right.
And this is where you need to be afraid because when they sort this out,
right,
they're going to be taking all the ones with an R and they're going to be burning them.
One for me, one for you. One for me, 1, 2 for you. One for me, 1, 2, 3 for
they'll take all the R's and they'll throw them in the trash.
Exactly.
It'll be just like when I try to explain to the girls, I'll cash app you $5, but you cash app me 10 back.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
The math isn't going to add up, That's the only problem. And you'll never be able to. You'll never know if it's true or not. That's the only.
Right.
Like you said.
But I see
no
people
common sense. They tell you to wear a mask, go out, do stuff, wear a mask, social distance. Well, you could put your fucking mask on and you could go wait in line and you can vote. Because every one of those little voting machines or these tables where you got to use your number 2 pencil and fill out all the little eggs, they're all got their partitions around them. Yeah, they're all going to be separated. So you're going to tell me that it's unsafe to be in a polling place? It's just as unsafe to be in a fucking restaurant or the supermarket or any other place, okay? You want to be an asshole and you want to go to fucking Starbucks, you could go fucking vote then. Yeah. I don't want to hear it. This shit with this mail-in voting, if you're a fucking old geezer that never leaves the house because you got the fucking oxygen tank hanging on the back of your wheelchair, different story. If you're out of the country for some reason, military or whatever, different story. But if you're just some fucking schlep.
Deep breath, John. Deep breath.
Yeah. If you're just some fucking schlep. Vote.
I'll breathe later.
Yeah, exactly.
Deep breath. Relax.
Right. I get aggravated at stupid shit. I look at stuff the way George Carlin does.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah, you live in the world that we're in.
How fucking stupid can you be?
Well, we could try.
There's millions of people that totally believe this shit.
Just you gotta wonder about that little mouse in the refrigerator. Like when the light goes out, what's he doing? You know,
Yeah.
chocolate cake, motherfucker.
Oh shit!
Right now, I don't have any of them.
Oh, my daughter went out. Her and her boyfriend went out to the farms out on Sound Avenue yesterday. She brought me back a big lemon meringue pie.
Ooh.
Oh my god!
Oh yeah, and then tonight I got a Carvel cake, so got one of them and a bunch of alcohol. They'll load me up.
They're always good. Fudgy
Oh
away.
yeah, and look at this. A customer. This is a customer of mine. He goes, "Hey Brian, I know it's not tequila, but here you go. Thanks for being a
absolute,
yeah."
Good.
But it's the 1.75 liter. I mean, it's the big bottle. I mean,
yeah.
That was
my favorite.
That was that bottle of tequila that I had. That my daughter comes over, Dad, this is empty. I'm like, oh, I gotta refill it, huh? Okay. You know what
I'm like,
is.
I told him, I said, now look, I'm not going to mess up your figures and your how much you owe me. You can get me slosh. I'm a cheap date, but I'm not going to mess up.
No half gallon of orange juice to go with that. No OJ.
No, not yet.
You got to put that in the freezer.
Yeah.
Oh,
I used to.
We found this. I'm a big Jägermeister fan. I keep a bottle in the freezer.
Oh, did you find one of those dispensers?
Not yet. I was just talking about, but they got me a bottle of Jägermeister. It's a black label. It's like a coffee flavor. It's like it's everything now is like coffee flavor because they also got me a bottle of Jameson that's like made with Arabica beans. Like this is like the new thing now. So, and she brought up a bottle that's like peanut butter liquor. So I said, pour me 2 fingers over ice. So you sip it, it's like it's got the taste of peanut butter, but it's a nice sipping liquor. I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. So my other daughter mixes it with like jelly. I'm like,
jeez.
Put some chocolate in there too. What the?
You're damn right.
Get out
bacon. Put some bacon.
Bacon. We had they bring in on the weekends. They're bringing in food trucks to the common area where the HOA office is. And last week they had Bacon Boss.
Oh, cool.
The Bacon Boss truck is awesome. The guy, he cooks up like 4 different kinds of bacon. Like that really thick, sugary one.
Applewood, yeah.
Yeah, he's got all different kinds of bacon, and he makes everything with bacon. Bacon cheeseburgers that are like this big. Macaroni and cheese. Macaroni and cheese with chunks of sugar-coated bacon.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the Bacon Boss. Everything he makes has bacon.
I want like a 6-inch BLT.
Yeah, they do BLTs. He does grilled cheese. He's got like 6 different kinds of cheese.
That's what I had today
like
for lunch.
4 different kinds of bacon. And it's one of those ones where it's 3 slices of bread.
Yeah.
And it's that really, really thick Texas toast.
Right.
So the thing weighs like 3 pounds
like
when you go to eat
sandwich.
it. Yeah, Bacon Boss. Awesome, awesome truck.
Yeah, my wife was asking me, what do you have for lunch? I said, well, I made a grilled cheese. She goes, wait, what did you make it with? I'm like, well, we had 1 piece of white American. I said, I took some yellow. I said, and I used some mozzarella. I said, and I had some of the taco cheese. I put it all in there. I said, and I was about a half a pound of butter, and I was good. She's like,
yeah.
How'd that come out? I'm like, awesome.
Awesome.
It was great. It was excellent.
Yeah. My wife makes great grilled cheese. She does it in the frying pan.
Yeah. I use a flat pan. A flat pan.
Yeah.
So when you're doing your grilled cheese, do you use butter or mayonnaise?
Oh, butter.
Well, butter on the toast, but then I put mayo on when I put the cheese on.
Do you? Yeah, I've never used mayo on the sandwich. No.
Yeah.
I put mayo. Next time, do just mayo. Just mayonnaise.
Right.
Yeah, it's a whole hell of a lot faster, and it's got a. It has a. It doesn't have the greasier. It's less greasier.
Okay.
and you'll be surprised.
I'll try that.
Sounds good. I'm
So,
always up for
yeah.
change. What the hell?
Yeah,
Yeah, you
got
just
got a big old jar of Hellman's I need to open up.
Yep, you just mayonnaise on the outside. I put a little bit on the inside, but on the outside, put them down, put cheese, some ham, some bacon, or whatever.
Ham, yeah.
And it's not super greasy, and it's really good. It cooks faster though.
I'll give that a shot.
It doesn't. The butter takes a little longer.
Yeah, you're talking about super greasy like it's a bad thing. You're talking about two guys with whose last name ended in O.
Yeah, I know that, but I'm just trying to help you guys out. I mean, I want you around for another week or two. You know?
Trust me, my cholesterol's not that bad.
Yeah, mine is. It's all right. Medication for it. Yeah.
I want, you know.
I appreciate that.
Hey, I love you guys. I want you around for another week or two. You know.
I don't know.
I got to stick around at least another 8 months. I got to build this freaking car.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh shit. All right, I gotta get my credit cards ready, man. It's gonna be running pretty soon here. Keep going.
The counter's 3 hours and 10 minutes.
I know.
Awesome.
All right.
Lewis might get one hell of a bill.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what's going on.
Maybe that's the reason he jumped ship is because the bill got so high.
Right.
I don't know. Oh well. All right, guys. Be safe.
All right,
Take
boys.
care.
Talk to you later.
I'll be in touch.
All right.
All right.
Oh, hey, Ray.
Yeah.
That Monte Carlo looked really good with those 24s, huh?
Well, the Monte Carlo looked okay, yeah. I'm not a big fan of the double thing.
But I can't believe that guy paid $8,500 for those wheels, and it was another $2,000 for the matching steering wheel.
I hope he got a lot of street cred out of that because oof.
Man, I saw that and I was like, I cannot believe.
Yeah.
And it fit.
He'll never get that money back.
Oh, I know. Well, he was doing some crazy stuff. He's I don't know if you could see from that. I didn't take a picture of the engine compartment, but he changed everything to that blue rubber hose and that silicone stuff,
Yeah.
And it supposedly he's gonna get the car painted black. And instead of where it was the red and yellow stripes, he's gonna have the 2 shades of blue or something like that.
I'm thinking, in this day and age, guys, they CNC cut out, steering wheels and wheels like guys, small shops have those machines now. I wonder why it was so expensive. Well, they just saw them coming. I don't know.
I don't know. I guess when you walk in with the money, they're going to take it, right?
Exactly.
Oh well.
All
All right, Ray. I'll let you
Brian.
out.
All right.
Talk to you
Good night.
later. Bye.
So long.